This
Oh,
is
hey,
the Triheart Show.
I'm on screen. Crazy.
Hell yeah. Die, Benji, die. Yeah, this is dope. Chris and Danny have been working really hard on these outer space sets. Introduce the episode. This is the Tryhard Podcast, episode 22. I am Biff LeCup, and we also have Astrologic on. And our guest today is Chiptune Everything, Chiptune
I am
musician.
not every.
Yes, you are. Chiptune musician, chiptune visualist, and chiptune organizer. Die Benji Die.
Hey,
Benji, tell us a little bit about yourself.
um, not much to really know. Just someone that just does a lot of random stuff. I guess. Organized two comps, did some shows, organized some shows, do a lot of visuals for a lot of those things, and just generally whatever's up. That's,
I find that answer to be too modest. You have put out two incredible comps. I mean, you've done so much more, but you put out two incredible comps. We were honored to be on the first one, which I have a story about. And
oh, I want to hear that.
and you're organizing incredible shows. I haven't seen your visuals. I haven't seen your visuals yet, but we're having you for the Boston 8-Bit show later this month, and I'm really excited to see that.
Ooh,
Uh,
wait, am I on that?
yeah, you're on that, aren't you? Or no? Did I
No, I
just?
know.
I
No one
thought we
told
said.
me.
I thought we decided.
Yeah, I know, but I didn't know if it was like actually locked in. I was
Oh
just like,
no, it is. It is.
oh, okay, cool. Yeah, cool. I'm doing a show this month.
I know you're like the
Oh
last
my
person
god.
to know. Okay, this is kind of like a shallow question. I have so many more in-depth questions, but
Is it about my balding? Like,
no. Is it about my balding?
I mean, right now you're like there's like an earth above your head, so can't see anything.
No, it's about your name. I always laugh when I see Die Benji Die.
Yep. Well, actually, really funny is there's a lot of people who first see it and they're like, "Oh, is that like that Simpsons reference where it's D Benji D?" And like the joke was like, I guess like there was like a scene where what like Krusty's like the red haired guy, Sideshow
Sideshow
Bob.
Bob.
Yeah, yeah, Sideshow Bob was trying to like murder Bart, and they're like, "Oh no, that just says D Bart D or something." And like, there's a lot of people who reference that, and I'm just like, I wouldn't know. Like that's what I just learned out today. Cool, thanks.
um. Wait. So how did you? Okay. So how did you get your name?
All right. So what happened was a long time ago. I had a couple friends, actually one of which is kind of one of the reasons I got like really heavy into chiptune in the first place. But okay, like that's a whole story in itself that we could probably talk about later. But like, just generally, his like moniker was like Jump Tom Jump, and then I had another friend whose band was Run Johnny Run. They opened for the Misfits once. They opened for Misfits and the Cro-Mags, and it's one of the few things I like deeply regret in life is I never got to that show. But yeah, I guess like I was just like looking at all these names, and I was just like, hey, I kind of want like a verb name verb thing. I guess for me it's just die Benji die. It just felt like really apropos, I guess.
Well, Chris, who is Astrologic, feels ripped off because his handle is Astro is dead. So I think there's some beef between you two.
Oh my god, this is literally college all over again.
No,
There was
no.
no, because there's a dude in college who straight up beefed with me just because my name is Benji. So this is that all over again. Like it's wild how like that happens.
Oh, cool. Oh, okay. Uh, oh, Cass Cuttlefish says hello. Oh my god, I love Cass. Okay. All right. So before we jump into the new compilation, I kind of wanted to take a jump back to a compilation that's not even that old. The continue.
Feels like 7 years ago.
I
Or
know. It
something.
feels like for real. And actually, I have a really funny story about this. So I laugh about it. I don't know if you really understood, or like I was like really embarrassed. So what happened was I don't speak for the whole band, but like I had kind of gotten really frustrated with the chiptune community, and we were getting a really positive response from like our local community, Boston, and like the punk scene here. And I was like, this was right around when COVID started, and I was like, you know what? Like, we're doing these Boston 8-bit shows, but I don't know if I really want to invest in the chiptune community like that anymore. And then, you know, in terms of like chiptunes win, like submitting
Yeah,
to
yeah.
those kind of things and stuff like that.
No, yeah,
So, so Sam Mulligan, who's our very good friend, and another Boston chiptune person, hits me up, and he's like, Benji loves Bernie Sanders. You love Bernie Sanders. He's doing this Bernie Sanders comp. Do you want to participate? And like, so you're in this chat, and I, you know, Sam and I are very comfortable with each other. So I'm like in the chat that you're in. I'm like, who the fuck is Benji? And then Sam he's like in the chat. He's like, Benji's actually in this chat. He's doing this comp, and I was like, oh, haha, Benji.
Oh wait,
it is so nice to meet you.
I think I vaguely remember that.
I was so embarrassed. I was like, "Oh, Benji, haha, it's I'm so sorry. Yes, I would like to joke around with Sam sometimes."
No, honestly, I didn't even register that as anything mean. I feel like that's just the normal reaction to like when people meet me. It's like, who
the fuck is Benji, kid? Like,
yeah, it's like who's this fuck?
But anyway, it was so interesting. Like this whole time lapse was that Continue was originally a Bernie Sanders fundraiser, and of course, as we know, Bernie Sanders ended up winning the whole presidency. So,
yeah, right.
So you ended up changing it over to COVID. So yeah, tell us a little bit about that whole process.
Yeah, I mean, what to talk about? There's so much to talk about there. Like, I think when we first started, getting that comp together, it was like, okay, like let's just like set the timeline. That was like March, and we were all stoked. Like like Nevada just happened, and there was like this momentum going on, and I was just like, yeah, we should rally. We should like totally rally. And I think it was like a conversation I had with like Glomag, and I was like just thinking to myself like, okay, wait, I know a lot of chiptunes people. We should totally do like a chip for Bernie Sanders kind of thing, because one of my favorite compilations ever was Chip for Cancer Volume 1. And Iris just thought that was like a cool thing, like, just because I kind of really like compilations. It's just like a good way of like finding new like music for me.
Right.
So I was just thinking like, oh, well, we could totally just grab all these people and just try and rally for Bernie Sanders. But as like, time moved on, like just each week was a new thing at that point. Like like what? It was like the first week, what happened? Like that like weird Obama phone call thing happened.
Oh man, I know.
And then we were all just like in the most like doom state ever. Then like lockdown started. Then like this, and I was just like, no, you know what? In the spirit of Bernie Sanders, let's just put all the money for COVID. And then like even that was just kind of
the spirit of Bernie Sanders.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Boundo2 says hi Benji, hi. That's hilarious.
Yo, Josh. Thanks for tuning in, Josh. This is like my Josh, he runs this clothing company called Stay Tuned LA, and he also runs Poolside with my friend Aaron from Chicago.
Oh, dope.
And yeah, like we're actually doing a show. Well, they're actually promoting a show. I probably shouldn't say any details. Called Yuletide, and I got to perform for them for a show called Ghoulside. In October. Yeah. It was a great time.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, and I mean, like Josh has been organizing stuff for years as well. But yeah, like I'm plugging in their thing. Check out Stay Tuned LA. Damn, I don't know the entire URL off the top of my head.
I find you to be very connected, Benji, which I want to talk about. Like you're very like, I don't know. I just feel like you're that one that knows everybody. Like
That's literally just because I do nothing but stay online and just like silently watch people. I'm basically like if like when articles write about like Facebook stalkers or
Yeah.
whatever, that's me. I'm just there like hunched over,
What is
like what are people doing?
Spy Benji Spy?
Yep.
Oh my god. So was the continue comp like, because that was a really interesting time, because I think Warren was still in, so in terms of, I don't know if you'd want to call it like a progressive compilation, like if there was like Warren supporters, would they have jumped on the standard, like did you experience anything like that when you were trying to organize?
Yeah, I mean there were actually quite a few people who, like, I'm not gonna name names or anything, and I was just kind of like weirded out in the sense that like it's like it seemed like they enjoyed some of like the policies, but it seemed like they like supported other people
Right.
more so than like Sanders, and it's just kind of it's just kind of interesting. Some of the responses I got. I mean, generally speaking, like overwhelmingly, it was positive. Like I'm like literally talking about like two, three, like count them on my hands sort of interactions. But still, like it really did like strike me because I was just like thinking like I don't know, it just felt like as like a whole, and especially just like like even like something like chiptunes. I mean, like what like we're just like utilizing like retroactive technology that's like
Right. Right.
no one's like using, and like there's like something really like punk and raw about it in the sense, and it's just weird that like a lot more people weren't just like hands down about like some some support, I guess. I don't know, that
Yeah.
was just more of a ramble. I just didn't understand like why people didn't like Sanders. I mean, I actually understand why. Like it's like it's an old guy overall. Like you
Right.
can't really market that like a cranky old guy. Like there's no real market for it.
Right. Well, uh, um,
Well, like that's all the media people talked about. It's like, oh, look at this angry cranky guy. He's yelling at clouds.
I know, I know. I know.
And
It was like being on a different. I don't know who's watching right now, but like it was like sometimes it was being on like a different planet where you'd like see the stuff on TV, and it's like
it's so
that's not my experience whatsoever. Like whatever you're talking about,
well. I
like
mean, but that's like that's how they get you, right? I mean, like
right,
that's the whole thing. It's just like like they like sensationalize a lot of stuff, but it's like really awkward when like they ignore like when Biden does it. I mean, Biden's actually like really handsy. Like you saw videos of him like stabbing his finger into like people's chest.
right,
He's like,
right.
listen, fella, if you don't like me, vote for the other guy. I'm gonna like he's like basically like punching you in the face.
I know, I know. That whole trip was wild, and like actually, yeah, it was super frustrating. I'm not one to like need a social media break, but even I was like, I need to get off. Like when he lost, I was like, I need to get off Twitter for like 24 hours and just like chill for a minute.
Yeah, I mean, like it's so weird. Like for me, I feel like I'm at the point where like I've just like lived on the internet so long just to like see
Right,
all like sorts of highs and lows to the point where I'm like, I know this is bad and probably bad for me, but I feel like
right,
I need to know.
dude.
Otherwise,
Yes,
I'm just gonna like not know, and then like, and there's a lot of people that not know and they're like totally okay, but it's so awkward because like you notice like how a lot of those people end up like becoming really comfortable with like the conveniences, and then trying to shrug off a lot of issues that are very pertinent to not only their lives but like so many others lives. So it's just
right.
kind of like I get it, like like definitely like take care of yourself before like anything else, but like there's something necessary about that like constant information feed, as disgusting
Yes.
as it is.
That's so true. Obviously, like I'm in this band, and like my number one goal is my band, right? So like
Right.
we were in it was like the night of California in the primaries, and like that it was Super Tuesday, and
Mm.
so like I was like we were recording Shadow Fighter in the studio,
Oh
and
snap.
like any other time I would have been like you know you need to be focused on this Shadow Fighter. We're recording right now, like da da da. But like during the session, I'm just like on my phone, like I'm like, oh yeah, I'll record in a second, and just like refreshing my feed to see who's winning, and that was like, I don't know what to say. It felt unhealthy, but I was like, it's just right now, and like,
Yeah,
I don't
but I
know.
mean, like, it's because like when Trump became president, like, I hate to say it, like the most interesting effect was it got way more people to like be insanely attentive more, which
Right.
like if there's a positive, I mean, we could say that, like, like that ever like vigilance, just because like I remember during the Obama years, like freaking out when like Snowden, like
Right.
got exiled or whatever, like he had to like not, he couldn't be here, and I was like thinking in my head like, this is actually kind of a serious issue,
Right.
and we're just going to be okay about this, right? Like it seems like everyone's just already ready to just be like, doesn't affect me. Yet like everyone here is still like joking about like all the algorithm stuff. It's like, dude, it's like all of our data is being sold for like no reason. Like that's pretty harsh, and it's weird. It's just like I think that's like the scary part about like people pining to go back to the Obama years, because it's just like, oh, you kind of just want to put the curtain back over the giant floating head of
Right.
Wizard of
Right.
Oz,
Right. Right. Yeah.
whereas Trump was literally freaking floating head screaming
For
at
real.
you constantly.
It's so true.
You know, it's just, I mean, like, yeah, like obviously, like that's like the one thing is, yeah, sure, like it would be nice to like not wake up at 3 in the morning and find out that like this weird thing that weird thing was tweeted and it might cause like another war. Like there's some comfort in that, but still, it's just kind of like, yeah, but it's still all shady and still kind of sucky. I mean, like, look at things now. Like, literally, Pelosi's just like, oh, stimulus checks. Like,
Oh my
who
god.
cares? I got an ice cream fridge.
I
Did
know,
you
for
see
real.
that? Did
Oh
you
my
see
god.
my $20,000 worth of ice
That
cream?
shit
Like,
was wild.
I feel
Wild.
it's weird because like I feel like that should have been like easily the breaking point where everyone just goes like bonkers and it's just like, you know what, fuck everything. Like this person is literally on what's that show? What's that talk show? It's like
Oh, it was James Corden. Or no.
James Gordon. Yeah. Just to just be like, I'm eating this ice cream
I
and
know. I know.
God.
I feel like we're gonna go down the rabbit hole on this.
Yeah, we are already down the rabbit hole.
But anyway, chiptune.
Yeah, chip tunes.
But something that was also really interesting about you during that time that I was like learning about you was that while you were organizing this comp and putting this comp out, you were also like in this kind of not. I mean, it was kind of like a forced move from Oregon back to New York. I didn't know if you wanted to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, Jesus Christ. It's been a tough year. Like, it's actually around this time last year. Oh wait, this is December already. So this is already kind of like the bad stuff already happened.
Oh shit.
So basically, the only reason I was in Oregon was due to my ex partner, who I lived with for like 3+ years. Like we lived together in Chicago for a bit, just
Oh
because
damn.
that's where I did my master's degree. And to be quite honest, like the only reason I went to Oregon was because of her or whatever, right? And so when the relationship ended, I was just like, why am I here? Like I never liked this place.
Really?
Yeah, well, like I mean, we were talking about it a little bit before the show. Like generally, like obviously, this is a your mileage may vary kind of situation, but like for me, like I just completed this master's degree, and I was actually pretty active in Chicago with like the new media art scene, and I had a lot of connections with a lot of venues. Like people were reaching out to me. I was actually asked to do this VJ set for this like big festival in Chicago. I forgot what it was called. It was like that like before like literally 2 weeks before I had to move to Oregon. I got contacted for that and an 8 Static, which could have been like the last 8 Static
Wow.
that happened,
Yeah.
because like right after that I didn't hear about 8 Static even happening, and I couldn't go to either because I'm moving. I also helped organize Lil Sound Assembly 4, which I was trying to get to. Like I remember I brought on like a couple artists within the lineup, just help Noah out with like a lot of the people who I thought would be great for visualists and musicians, and to also just kind of like diversify the lineup, I guess, in a sense. Like I know that it was like his thing, and I like kept it true to his thing, and it's just because like I really loved like the like Lil Sound Assembly 3, which I got to perform in, and I really loved what like Noah was doing, and I just love Noah in general. Hypnogram, if anyone wants to check out his music. Um, but yeah, what to call it? So where was I? Oh right. So I got invited to these like two shows that I couldn't do, and I couldn't even like go to the show that I was like helping organize. So I dropped all of that, and I moved to like Portland area because that's just where my partner grew up, and it was frustrating because like now this is like therapy session all over again. But like I guess what was frustrating was at the time, I was like aiming to move to either back to New York or to LA or to like just any other part of the world where I thought there was like a really active new media art scene and like, just further my career in a sense. And, I just decided like, oh, I have I was feeling kind of overconfident, I guess. I was just like, oh, I have a master's degree in this. I did all this like awesome stuff. I organized all these shows. People are gonna like just love what I'm gonna do. My first job in Oregon was literally just GameStop in this like
hell yeah,
random um like suburb where the dude straight up thought I didn't know English. And I can't help to think, but like, dude, I think that dude was like kind of racist. Like, why did you think like just like single me out, not think that I know how to like just like do the alphabet? Like that's just weird. So like, yeah, I mean, there were like a couple art things that I got involved with, but just in general, like, this is gonna probably piss off anyone in Oregon, which again, your mileage may vary, you know. Uh, but like for me, like I feel like Oregon is just kind of generally like the Portland, Oregon area is just generally where like artsy people and millennials go to like retire, but still like work forever. Like I've noticed that like everyone that goes there just gets really hyped up on like the beer and like board game scene out there,
oh
which is
wow,
great. Like that's totally cool. Like do your thing, but like like this is your lifestyle. It's like you work at your startup, you and your social life is board games and beer. You don't want to do your band stuff anymore. You don't want to really do your music stuff anymore. You don't really want to do anything anymore. And like yeah, for me it was just like awkward because it was just like I was like saying before the show, like it was literally like microaggression hell
wow.
from this moment I stepped there. I was just like, dude, like like Portlandia is like, oh, Portland's like the '90s. Like, yeah, like I guess it's all the '90s racism that I thought
I know for real.
like the world outgrew. Like, what is all this? Like, there's so many people that like straight up asked me, like, they find out like like I have some Korean in me. They're like, oh, do you eat dog? And they're being sincere about it. They're not even like joking.
That's
They're like,
wild.
because they're like well-meaning, well-meaning liberals, and like then everyone else is like a military brony or like a furry that's like really into Trump or like just scary libertarians. Like there's just like no in between. It was
Right.
just insane. Um, Actually, here's a perfect example, and this is just gonna be a kind of dark story. Like so the first apartment I lived in, I guess like the town I like moved to is like a suburb of Portland. It's like 20 minutes away or whatever, right? And it was just new for that area to have like a lot of brown people, like Indian and South Asian people, right? And they moved in there just because like there's a lot of tech startups now, like Nike being like the big one, right? And I remember on a car ride with like my ex's mom, who's like the most like liberal, like NPR watching, like PBS watching, like like just like do all the check marks, right? Was also a Sanders supporter, so like like just like do all the check marks, right?
Right.
we're driving through this neighborhood, and it's just like a bunch of brown people like playing cricket. And then she comments, "It wasn't always like this." And I was just
no.
What? No, that's not even the highlight. The highlight is there was another time because I guess the apartment I lived in was like actually like it was comfortable for me because like I grew up with like South Asian people, so like that's just I mean like I grew up in Bangladesh, like this is just it's just like home for me, right? Not that I really interacted with any of them. I almost got into like a weird born again Christian group, and that was really awkward because I really wanted free samosas. But anyway,
I like how you just walk away from that story. You're like, but moving on.
I could get into that. But what was funny was so we had like a gym, right? And my partner like had her mom like use a gym or whatever, and she came out, and I still like this is just like is just burned into my core right now. She goes, it's like I felt super uncomfortable because I was the only white person there. And then she was like, now I understand how all you people feel like.
No.
Ooh, that is a lot. That is a lot to say.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
I mean, like, but that's just like it doesn't stop there. Like, like you're in a Target, like I'm in a Target, and people would just like come up to me and ask if I like just like I'm wearing like plain clothes, like nothing about me says Scream Target. I'm wearing a black T-shirt. Like, how is that Target? Like Target is the red shirt with the red polos, right?
Oh, okay, yeah.
I'm in a Target. People come up to me and ask like where anything is, like all these like old white people, and I'm just like thinking in my head like, where's the indication that I work here? Like where are you seeing this? Like this is very very sketch. Like, and I gotta tell you, like, I mean, I drove across the country like 5 times in my life, like back and forth. Like I even drove out to Oregon from New York. Like we went from like Chicago, stopped here to grab my car and just drive all the way to Oregon, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's definitely like places. Oh, like there's this place in Wyoming we stopped. It was like just like it was a gas station, but it was just like gas station with a sign that just says gas, and then the restaurant is just restaurant. Like and we needed to eat, right? And so me and my partner at the time, my ex, we ate there, and this is Wyoming, and I expected this just because like I've driven across the country like several times, so I'm just like I knew this, and I guess like she never really experienced this, but anyway, we're in this restaurant, and we have our food or whatever, and we just like noticed that like people keep staring at us, like taking glances. And then eventually, like everyone, I kid you not, the restaurant was empty except for us and like a black couple. And like it was awkward, and like the waitress was gone, like no one was checking in on us, not like just literally nothing. The moment I stood up, the waitress just appears out of nowhere, like, you need something? Like, it was just like, whoa. Like,
that sounds scary.
Oh,
I
God.
feel like we need to get out of here.
No, it's like, it's Wyoming, it's Idaho.
Right.
One state I literally will just never return to. Like, I don't care. Like, I know there's like cool people there. Like,
right.
And I definitely like, like I shouldn't write off a state. But like Mississippi, I'll never go back to Mississippi.
For
like,
real.
My first experience with someone from Mississippi was like when I was 14. I was part of like or I guess 16. My high school had like a solar car racing team, and for some reason, a school in Mississippi has a solar car racing team. Beats me. I don't know. So I remember the first interaction I had was like we went up to like it was like me and my friend from high school. Like he's Filipino, and so we're both like it was also summertime, so our skin was a lot darker than what it was, right? And we go up to this like kid, like I kid you not, like this dude is like probably like 14, right? Just chewing tobacco, just just like loudly, just like just like you hear every lip smack, you hear everything, right? And we just wanted to like meet the other teams or whatever. We go up, and then he goes, "Now, are you Chinese or are you Mexican?
No,
Because we don't like the
stop.
Mexicans."
Stop
Just,
it.
no, I'm dead
Dude.
serious.
Oh my
The,
god.
the first time I drove from New York to California, I stopped at this restaurant that advertised like the world's best pie or something, or I guess they won like some sort of pie award, right? And I think this was Wyoming again or Nebraska. It's one of these places. It was either Wyoming or Nebraska. I literally can't tell those two states apart when you're driving through because they're both flat. And like I kind of actually understand why people like believe in God and Jesus because like there's literally nothing for miles, and when you're by yourself and there's nothing for miles, and you're just like staring at this like giant sky, you're just like, oh, okay, I'll believe anything. But like, no, I remember this one time I went to like this restaurant and like because I really wanted to get this pie because like they're advertising it, right? And I had the pie and I was about to drive. I used the bathroom. In the bathroom, there's this graffito that just says like "kill all immigrants."
Oh Jesus Christ!
And I'm like, I walk out and I'm like, I look around and I'm like, how is this an actual fear here? Like, how does this make any sense? Like, literally, why is this a fear here? Like, there's no way. There's like, what are you talking about? It's like, I mean, this is like 2013. Like, like this is not that far ago. Like even driving out, like that Wyoming incident was like 2016. Like like these aren't gonna go away.
Right.
But that's just kind of like how it is.
You're kind of blowing my mind on Portland a little bit. I mean, I know some of these stories you're telling me like didn't take place in Portland, but I don't know. Like, as an East Coaster, I've never been on that side, and it's just like you have this like Portlandia vision where it's like they're too liberal. It's like funny like that, but you're kind of like
that was so hyped up. That was actually all hype for me. Like that's actually one of the reasons why I kind of like I eventually like bargained for it. Like I was just like, okay, yeah, like they have an art scene.
Right.
So I go there after the GameStop job. I worked at Apple. Most of my Apple employees complained about like the Black Lives Matter movement, and it was just really
wow.
Yeah, they're like, oh, those riots, blah blah blah. I was just like, dude, you work at an Apple.
I know, for real.
Like this is weird to talk about, and the worst part was like one of my coworkers who like I just never got along with. He was just so hyped that like we had like one coworker that was blind, and he was just like, "Oh, this is the first," because like one of the companies, whatever, is like diversity. Like all these companies are diversity, whatever, right? And then his whole talking point all the time was like, diversity is usually just like token like minority groups, but like there's like diverse white people in the store, so this is diversity. I was just like, dude, you're just stoked because like one coworker is blind. Like, what are you talking about? That's totally tokenization at that point. Like,
what is this confidence that like is good like?
Like you literally just made a token on somebody who just works there. Like,
oh my god!
Like, what did you do? Like, anyway. So after that, I worked in an art school there,
and that's cool.
That's when I noticed that the art scene was dying. Like, I had like 2 shows there. I actually helped organize some of the chip events with Meklo, Matt, who was on the first comp. Just to like plug. Also tonight we launch, who's also on the first comp. But yeah, like what was weird was like I was trying to get involved like the indie game scene there because like they had like a vibrant indie game scene, but like literally everything was dying. I'm telling you, like the arts. Okay, this is actually how I feel like you could measure like an thriving art scene in a city. Just because I've been like around a lot, it's just like watching like the art colleges, like love them or hate them, like and definitely hate them because their tuitions are way too high and like no one could really afford them. They're definitely kind of exploiting the crap out of like people that are creative for sure. But like if the art colleges there are dying out, like there's no funding for them, and like the school that I worked at, I lost the job because like the budget went under, and they literally had to
Oh.
merge with the other school that like the only other arts college in the town. And okay, you know, like those the chain schools, like the art institutes,
Right.
it doesn't exist there. They shut down
Wow.
during my first year there, and I was just like, that's when I was just like, yeah, no, there's just no hope. And it was funny
Wow.
because a lot of my coworkers who've lived there their whole lives is like, yeah, like 10 years ago, people would set up like underground shows and factories, blah blah blah, like you know, like all these like DIY gallery spaces, right? But there was just no DIY space, which was like the absolute opposite of like what I'm used to in general. And I remember like my first year. My first year was like because like when I moved to Chicago for grad school and stuff, there wasn't really like a chip scene there as well. And I never understood why because I was like, dude, this is Chicago, like one of the biggest cities. Like we just got to make this happen. And you know, after like a lot of work, that's kind of how like bit by bit happened.
Yeah.
So that's basically what I tried to do the first year was I just like talked to everybody that I thought was like involved in the indie game scene, like the music scene, the like chip music scene, and it was just like there were just like these established things, and but there was just no like actual like space for any of these like things to like intertwine or like even congregate really.
Right.
I mean, like they kind of congregate, but it's not like it wasn't like what I experienced. Because like the nice thing about Chicago, because when I was starting bit by bit, was I wasn't necessarily like, oh, I want to highlight just chip musicians. I was like, no, I want chip music to be something that's very much like surviving on its own. And I feel like what people don't understand is when you create kind of like an insular like group, you're not allowing it to grow. So like that's why I like pulled people from like the arts game scene, the glitch scene, the you know all these like different like new media artists to like congregate together to make these like bi-monthly events. So I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. So like, but you know that's what I'm saying. Like for me, like if someone could make it work in Portland, then you know you have my blessing. Like honestly, like you did something that I honestly just couldn't do. I couldn't just like figure anything else out. I got super burnt out and got really into competitive Pokemon. That's how I cope, and that's just how I'm gonna live by it. That totally that and probably listening to like ska music ruined my relationship. So no, like no joke. There was like this time period where like I was working this like awful like no, I was working for Lyft at the time. Um, and I got like a YouTube Music subscription just because I just don't use Spotify,
Right.
and I got like really into like listening to ska music. So like my car was literally just nonstop like the Aquabats, Goldfinger, and all these people, and like my partner was just like, "What the hell is this?" And I was just
Who
like,
are you?
"Yeah, like, because I really feel like she was like disappointed that I couldn't just be like this like goth art emo like person 24/7. I guess I don't know. Like I should have just stayed like a Tumblr artist. That's how we met. So it was just like no, but yeah, no, seriously, like she really did not like how much ska music and she hated the alphabet. I was like really happy about the alphabet. Oh my god. Oh, I mean, it's definitely not that. I mean, there's definitely like a lot of other layers on. But I like it's just funny just because of like I just remember that time period, and I really feel like I got into like this weird hyper fixation with ska music at the time. I was just watching all the Cartoon Network videos. I was
Oh
like,
yeah,
oh,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. I was like, when's ska coming back? Let's bring it back. Hell yeah.
I love the Cartoon Network is like bringing it back for me. I love his Twitter feed.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't even know what
Like
to say about that, but
yeah, their Twitter feed.
yeah.
Yeah, like the cool thing about them is what do you call it? Like I like how they keep positioning ska as like something that never went away, and
Right.
I really like that just because you know I kind of feel like that resonates deeply with like all these other like super niche like music scenes. I mean, even like what we do and ship, but also like for another thing is like Witch House. Witch House, everyone like kind of proclaimed died when like C Punk came out, but
Oh
like
dang.
Witch House still lives, and I mean like in a weird way, and like there's like a lot of like finicky things about it because like I mean I was super into Witch House, like that was just like kind of like my my rise of fame is being a goth blogger during like a Witch House Tumblr scene X core crap, like literally that was like my blog. It's like the most stereotypical like black and white photos, goth ninja clothes, and hey, I mean I actually still have a lot of my goth ninja clothes too. I mean I still wear that from time to time. But my point was, it's like like I didn't realize that like Witch House technically never died. I mean this like 2 months ago, Salem started releasing stuff again. I was just
Right.
like okay, I'm down. That's sick. Yeah, no, do it. Like, I feel like the things that did like actually kind of die off is probably like meme rap, which okay, maybe meme rap didn't die out. I don't know. I miss mumblecore. That was my favorite mumble rap.
Mumblecore.
Yeah, mumble rap. Hell yeah.
I'm all about
Oh,
that.
oh, what's my favorite Pokemon? Hold on. This is easy.
Were you the one that posted that meme today? It was like the old woman who was trying to name Charmander, and she said Hamilton.
No, that was not me.
Okay.
But yeah, this is my fave.
Oh, I love that.
That was too easy.
So, okay, so all this stuff is kind of going on while you're doing Restore and Continue. Well, yeah. So,
Yeah, yeah.
like I kind of wanted to know, like, I think you were kind of getting towards this earlier, but like, what was like the overall, like the overarching message or like theme of Continue? Yeah.
Yeah, like in general for me, like continue. It's weird how continue happened, and I'm gonna give a lot of credit for Steve Plasma Cutter, who was super involved with the first continue. I think some complications came up where they weren't as involved for Restore. They're the ones who designed the logo. They designed like the background, and like so like what okay so basically what happened is like I talked to like Joey for TTB to be on continue because they're just like one of my favorite bands ever.
Oh yeah.
Like I'm literally gonna get them like tattooed right here on my chest. So I guess like TTB posted about it or like tweeted about it, and then Steve comes and like literally just like messages me just all hyped up because like originally like the comp was for like Bernie Sanders, right? And I kid you not, like literally from the first initial DM, it was like, I kid you not, like barely 3 hours passed. They pumped out this new song called "Get In Loser." We're fighting for somebody we don't know, right?
Yeah.
They pumped that out like literally 3 hours after, and I was just like, okay, I literally just talked to you. Like, I went to work for a little bit, and then you just like blew up my phone. Like, this is awesome. And like, originally I really just wanted this to be kind of like a one-time thing, but like the more I talked to Steve, the more I talked to Shadru, who was Andrew from like, I guess he lives in London, Kentucky, but kind of like within the Atlanta group, I guess, in some sense because of SCAD. But like between like Steve and Andrew, like while we were just working out, reaching out to artists, we just kept talking about like, like what we wanted to do. We just like noticed that a lot of like my interests, like our interests, like just interweave very well. Like just like trying to connect all these communities. Like for me, like my whole thing, and this is just like me being a broken record because like this is just like what I was trying to do with like Bit by Bit. This is what I was just doing like early this year after Freak Fest Homecoming when I was like super hyped up on like music stuff again and whatever. I started this like Discord for just organizers, And I remember one conversation I kept having is like trying to break chiptune from being chiptune in the sense that like I said, like I just don't like how most people approach chiptune in the sense that it's like, oh, we're gonna book a chiptune artist, we're gonna book four other chiptune acts, and I really was like tried to like work against that. I was like wanted to work against like the expectations that people have for chip. Not that like they're necessarily bad, but like at the same time for me, it's like if you talk to the average person that's just not part of the community, not a musician, not a creator within the group, right? If you ask them, hey, what's chip tunes? They're like, oh, I love chip tunes, and then they start like showing you like the Undertale soundtrack, which is great, but it's also like it sucks in the sense that like you don't really notice that there's an actual musician there. Like, you know, it's like you know, there's an actual musician that has their own brand identity, that has their own stylistic decisions that makes this music. It's like you recognize the sound, you have like the idea of the sound exists as like a YouTube playlist or a Spotify playlist, and you're not paying attention to the name before it. You don't even realize that you could find that person, go to a show that they're doing. You know, like, and for a lot of people, like, so like there's like the part of me where like I kind of want to go back to music blogging again, where I just like talk about this like exhaustively until like people just get my viewpoint, because I think it's just important for me. Like, I don't know why it's so important. Like, it's just like been like a hyperfixation since I was like 14, I guess. Just because I watched this like stupid documentary one weekend in like, I don't know, like G4 or Fuse. It was just like on TV and like literally blew my mind because I think they were just like talking about demo scene. I don't think they were even saying chiptune. I think they just said demo scene, but they straight up showed like, oh, and I still to this day don't know what exactly this documentary is. I don't know. I've been looking for it. Where they showed like a musician playing music off a Game Boy, and it blew my mind as like a 14-year-old. I was like, whoa, what is this? And then like my first immediate thing was to go on myspace.com and go like, you know, the only person I remember from like this miasma of like them talking was BitShifter. And BitShifter, I'll never forget it. Like BitShifter's like profile picture was him performing, and he had this like 8-bit skull shirt.
Oh, wow. Oh yeah.
And it was just like it just like burned like this identity into my head. And like the next day, my former friend Tom, like, you know, I like talked to him about it. I think like he somehow saw the same documentary. I had an iTunes playlist that he gave me, where I didn't know any of the musicians. I still don't know any of the musicians. I don't even have the playlist anymore. But it was literally just titled Obscure Chiptune.
Nice.
And the only track I could know verbatim that exists was like a what's that band? Postal Service. A Postal Service cover. I think they covered now I don't even remember.
It must have been the do 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 do.
Yeah.
I can't sing it, but you know what I'm doing with my hands.
Yeah, no,
do,
yeah.
Do, 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 do.
But like, I guess like my point is going back to like continue. It's like, you know, I was like talking to Steve, and like, you know, that's why we kind of reached out to a broad basis of artists. And I also really wanted to encourage like people who aren't necessarily, and I'm gonna air quote here, so I'm not sure if you're gonna see these air quotes, like established chiptunes artists, because what the hell does that mean?
I know, for real.
Which, you know, there's connotations with that, because there are definitely established chiptune artists. I know that sounded really sarcastic and mean, but I don't mean any like shade or anything. I'm just saying, like, in just the grand scheme of things, it's like, you know, there became like kind of a weird loophole where like people were only interested in coming to chip shows, or like interested in anything chip, where you only, if you got like, you know, the chiptune legends in it, like,
yeah,
which again, that's like a super detrimental thing. So for me, I was just like really like, was like, fuck all that. I want people that I've never heard of. I want people that I think are like, like just like middle in there. I just want people of like all different like diverse sounds within Chip. And then like the plan was really just to just expand. And like I think I'm gonna try to work with this more so with like rebuild. It's just trying to reach out to, dare I say it, hyper pop, whatever the hell that is. Even though like I don't want to say that term because it was just like because it was like a label first, but now it's a genre that like people are applying to like Drake. Um, I guess that makes sense. I don't know. I don't know if that makes sense. But my point is, like, I want to hear an album with like vaporwave artists and chiptune artists in the same space. Like, I don't understand why you couldn't occupy. Like, it couldn't be that hard to like do that. Like, it's like yeah, sure, like maybe I don't know, like make an album and it's literally just vaporwave and chip, like a hard vapor and chip, and then like you get like Boy Without Batteries who did like a track with like Sega Saturn on Restore, like just have them like do another like Sega Saturn track with like a bunch of people doing like vaporwave. It would fit right in. It would make so much sense. Get chip artists to do an album with people who make PC music, for God's sakes. Like, like, yeah, okay, so you have a musician that sounds like Sophie or whatever, and then like you get someone like that's just like doing also like this crazy sound, high like energy, crazy sample manipulation crap. Just there's just so much like leeway and like so much like weight, and for me, it's just like I don't know, like, and I kind of feel like a minority in this just because of like the way that like when I reach out to people and interact, like I actually really was for like what to call it. I was actually really for the idea of getting back into music blogging because I think music blogging is important for a sense of archival. Because the thing about like, oh wait, I should wait. Be right back. I want to grab this book real quick. Hold on.
Oh, okay. Stalling. Oh wait, let's play. Yeah, you want to play one of the songs?
Sure.
Okay.
What's up?
Wait. Oh, Benji. We're gonna take a break. We're gonna play the song. So.
Oh, okay.
We thought we could slip it in before you came back, but you were really fast.
Yeah. It's not that far of a while, but yeah.
So we're gonna play. I think we have Muzak Efron. Oh, we'll be back in 5 minutes, or maybe 3.
Yeah, what's the song?
You pick. We have Muzak Efron or Superfetch.
You pick. You're the host.
Let's do Muzak Efron first.
Yeah, let's do it.
Well, pick one of the two bumps.
And we're back.
Oh, snap.
Did it work? We're like, okay, so this is like the first, for anyone watching right now, this is like the first experiment of trying the Triheart show. We're trying to do like a monthly, like, well, I mean, the podcast is going to be on here, but we're going to start doing like shows.
It's gonna be
like a little, I don't know. We're just trying this out. But that was actually super fetch. That wasn't Muzak Efron, so there might be more errors to come.
Hey, that's just how you gotta do things, right?
True. All right, so you left to go grab something.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, so I guess the where was I? Because I was talking about a lot of stuff, but I actually vaguely remember what I was talking about. Because the reason I got like really obsessed with like archiving and like blogging and stuff,
Music
which
blogging,
I still, like which I still haven't gotten to, and like I honestly think it's like important. I feel like there were people that were doing it actively, like Peter Schwinn for Truth Chip Till Death.
Yeah.
And like there was a time period in like when like Tumblr was like huge. I mean, I guess Tumblr is still huge. I don't know. I'm not on it. But like when people were just like talking about stuff. But like so I took this one course in my master's, which I didn't like my professor at all. Like I hated him because he hated me.
Oh no.
But it was like a course on punk history or whatever. Anyway, like the only good thing
is your teacher hated you.
Oh yeah, no, I had.
Why? You're hella punk. You're like.
No. Well, that's the problem. Is I'm just not academic.
Oh,
like,
okay.
Like I'm just not like. It's so weird like having like a master's degree because it's just like I literally went to school and everyone kind of wanted to like mold me into like this like weird like a super academic like thing, and like that's kind of how like they try to like do things. That's kind of why I got like super burnt out anyway. Like
yeah.
It's like, why am I writing this article or like writing this thesis that's like something I've written about since I was in like undergrad, and I have to like use, and this is just like, yeah, this is just like my biggest criticism of like academia. It's like, so the only way to get my argument to sound serious enough is by taking other articles that are already established within the system and then utilizing ideas and terms and those are arguing against those ideas and terms to like try and legitimize my argument. It's weird. It's like,
yeah, right.
It's like, so you're saying that like my argument in itself would have had no value without these already like the institutions of these like people that I have to involve.
Understand that. Yeah.
So it's just like, and so I'm in this like punk rock course and whatever, and like all of my arguments and stuff like just it's so weird. It's just like it was like, well, was there an article written about it? I was just like, what are you talking about? But anyway, the book I have is Michael can't pronounce his last name, Azirad. Our Band Could Be Your Life, and it's literally just Michael who interviewed pretty much all the bands within like the early punk scenes, the like beat happenings in this, like a lot of the early indie bands like Dinosaur Jr., Husker Du, Black Flag, like all these bands, right? Like, and just like talk about their experiences. And what's nice about like a lot of these like chapters is like it's just like each chapter is a new different group. Like one chapter is just dedicated to the Minutemen, one chapter is dedicated to like Fugazi, etc. Right? And what I like about this is just reading through it. Like I never finished the whole book. Just reading through it, I just noticed that the pattern of any like genre to be, or like just any community to be legitimized is if there's like an actual record of it existing and like people are talking about it. And that's what they did. Like a lot of these people, what they did was like they self-published. They did like a lot of zines. They put out all those zines, and we kind of have that ability now with just like things like blogs, and we kind of take that very seriously. Like I remember like one major moment in Chip was when the Needle dropped did a rating for that IAYD album, like 7 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, it was 7 years ago. Or no, was it? Wow, it was. Holy crap. Anyway, like, but like, and that was like a big highlight, and it's just like, it's like we're always like looking for these things, but like, in a sense, like I kind of wish there was just more of an effort sometimes to like push just doing it ourselves, because that's all these people are doing. I mean, like literally,
Right.
Ian McKay still lives in Discord house in Washington by himself, printing out like random stuff on cassettes out of his basement. Like Asian Man Records, Mike Park lives in, like, he just does everything out of his mom's garage in this like random place, like random house in like California,
Right.
And oh, now I remember. And what I remember like bringing to debate with like a lot of the other organizers, is the idea of like establishing micro genres in chip, like diversifying the genres, because there's just something kind of also bad about the umbrella term, like in the sense that like I said, there's already a perception of what chiptune is to like a person who doesn't listen to it, right? Or like doesn't actively listen to it. That's better phrasing. Um, and like I remember Steve at the time was like he does Plasma Cutter, and the way he advertises it is 8-bit punk, and that just I love that. I just
Right.
absolutely love that. I was like, yeah, no, that like definitely has like a feel, and I kind of see what bands would be in it. Like you could totally put like Slime Girls Vacation Wasteland in that. You could totally put, you know, um, KGB in that. You could do
Right.
like a lot of things. And I remember bringing this up with like a lot of the like I guess more established like chip people, and they're like, no, but that just like kind of takes away from the beauty where you get a diversity group, like a diversity of everything, and no one knows what to really expect. And I was just like, you don't necessarily you lose that, but like the idea is, it just like it gets people talking about it. It's like I remember this was with like an interaction with like a coworker and a hot topic once. Like I just recently discovered crying, and I was blown away because it was like something that like I really wanted. Um something I really wanted for a long time, like like a band that's emo, that's touring with other emo bands. Like they weren't even touring with like any like chiptune people. I mean, I guess they played with a show with Slime Girls once or whatever. Um, but what impressed me was, they toured with a lot of like that emo revival group, like all those like emo revival bands, like Joyce Manor. God, I don't remember like Tiger's Jaw, I guess. Blood Dispute, I guess. I guess those are all their like revival bands. I mean, there's a lot more, obviously, but like off the top of my head, like
Right.
um, and for me, what was interesting was I remember speaking with a coworker that just never understood that like the sounds that they were touring with, like they used an iPod to just play all the backing tracks with the chip parts, right? They never understood that like that was a chiptune thing,
Right.
and like I don't know, like there was just like something kind of really heartbreaking for me with that divorce, if that makes sense,
Right.
because it just like almost like gets it like takes away from like I don't know, like for me it's always a big thing when like a chip artist breaks out into like a quote unquote mainstream. Um, if
Here,
that
oh, sorry.
if that's fair, like I don't think they were necessarily ever really mainstream, but just within the times of the scope, like everyone was really into emo revival, and they were able to like capture that, and I was just like really proud for them, and like
Yeah.
it was like really different, like yeah, I just remember when I first heard that album, it was just so good.
Cass is reading my mind. When you said 8-bit punk, this term kind of popped into my head. So, Cass Cuttlefish has a question.
Yeah,
Question: how do you think the recent term digital fusion plays into this?
I mean, I welcome it. I think it's awesome. I honestly think it's really awesome. Like AV and I think I butchered that pronunciation. AV and Sarasu, like I mean, like they did something that I will like. It blows my mind still. Like they like almost like legitimized this thing that I loved for a very long time in a way that like most people didn't necessarily legitimize it in the sense that they got to score for a very popular and very great show during the peak of um animation styles, which it's funny because people don't I don't think people really necessarily associate this with me. Like Thor Van Orman is like my Facebook friend. Um, like not to like name drop people, but
oh,
but
it's like that. Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
no, but oh, that's how they pronounce it. Okay, I'll definitely keep that in mind. But a big interest I have was like that era of cartoons. It was like Flapjack, Chowder, and I noticed all these like creators from this like timeline working together. And like I remember being into Adventure Time like months before it got announced. I was in an animation course in college, and I remember this specifically because I just never felt like more like robbed in a sense. I told every single person in my college course, you have to watch the show when it comes out. It's going to be freaking amazing. I was hyping it. I was just like doing all this hype, and I was the black sheep of my college. Like no one wanted to like associate with me for whatever reason, like one thing or another. Um, so like yeah, especially in the animation course, they're like, yeah, okay, whatever, weeb. Like no, no one cares about you or your opinions. Like, well, it's like why are you talking to us? But like the same people that were like whatever. Like the moment like Adventure Time got to like hype that it got right,
Yeah.
they talked about it nonstop, and I was just like there like, what are you talking about? But anyway, my point is, AB Shiratsu entering that like sort of momentum, that scene, like the high cartoon scene. It's just so nice to see like my interests like interlace in a way, because I was just saw all those like connections myself, but just to like see that like physically manifest is it's just mind blowing, Um, God, I got off to a tangent. We were talking about the album Continue, but yeah, that's what happened with Continue, right?
Well, I guess so you were kind of talking about like one of your goals was to kind of like bring identity to chiptune through like bringing identity to the artist. So how do you find that Continue and Restore? Like how do you find that achieved that?
Achieved. Depends on what we mean by achieved. I mean, definitely like a hope. I feel like, like I don't know, like because would it kill someone to review them? um, like especially with Continue, what was nice was literally everyone brought like a different thing to the table. Um, like Triheart included just I don't even know how you would like even brand yourselves, to be honest. It's like it's definitely kind of like I would argue it's emo rap, but like maybe like someone will butcher me if that's how like they want. Huh?
That's the idea.
Yeah. Yeah, but I love that, and like it was just like for me, it was just like it was nice to like listen to that, and then like you have Monotody that did kind of like this like footwork sound, and then it just like meshed. I remember like that was like one of my first arrangements. Is like, oh, this would probably work really well into this, and I was just like, whoa, okay. And another trend that I noticed were a lot of like bands and people doing like a lot of like quote unquote 8-bit punk sounds. And I guess like that was kind of one of like the baby the like the gestation of like what went into Restore, because what happened with Restore was Vera tweeted out she tweeted out like I want to put together like an emo compilation, and then Kyle responded. Kyle, who's Nintendo Kwando as well as Indiana Joe.
Oh, nice.
They responded, "Yeah, we should totally do it." And I was just like, "Oh, that's the missing ingredient," because like it was always in the works. Like actually, originally I was thinking I was gonna release Rebuild before Restore. I don't know how that got switched. How did that get switched? I don't even know how that got shuffled, because I remember I announced Rebuild before Restore, because like I announced Rebuild during a lot of like the Black Lives Matters protests. How did that get switched? I think I was just like really hyped about the tweet. And and like we got into a discussion, and like I remember like our initial like musicians that were gonna contact list. I was just like, no, I really want to capture some of these like emo bands that like I really think would like work with all these like chip artists. I mean, like it's weird because like you see a lot of them like already work with chip artists already. So like, why wouldn't you just like put them together in an album? And even then, like for example, like the group Guitar Fight from Fully Cooley, if you listen to their other songs, like they have this like aesthetic where like they're like singing songs about like anime and video games, and it's like maybe not in like a nerdcore like nerd rap way, which like give or take. Like I'm not too entirely big on nerdcore or uh nerd rap. I mean, I definitely know like why like people are into it. Like that's totally cool. But it's just nice to like see those sorts of interactions in things that you don't necessarily like expect, if that makes sense. Like within like the broad scope of emo, I guess like most people like mislabel emo as like, oh, you just like go there to just sing about how like you got broken up like 15 times. Like, yeah, you could totally do that, but also like just like singing about like all this other stuff is like kind of cool.
Uh,
There's a question in chat.
oh yeah, go for it.
So the question is, let's see. One thing I really noticed about the compilation is that it has way more lyrics than just about any chiptune compilation I've ever heard. I'm curious how that happened. Do you think that's going to be more common in chip-related releases? The second part of the question about it being more common, I would argue probably not. I mean, I would love if it was common, for sure. Like I'm not going to discourage anyone for like having lyrics and singing along with their songs, for sure. I think the reason it became such a big thing in this compilation in particular is because we've reached out to like a lot of bands, and like just like the stylization of that genre is very lyrical. And there's definitely an element where, yeah, you could totally just do like a math rock emo style and like it's just all instrumental, but like there's a heavy emphasis on like lyrics. So I think that's what like really played into Restore is all of these bands had lyrics.
I kind of have a question about legitimacy, but
Oh yeah.
So like I really liked what you were saying, and like this is kind of a stretch, but in college I have like this weird obsession with the great composers. I have like an obsession with them, their lives, the establishment of the great composers. Like the obsession I have is like on so many different wires. But one of the things that I was thinking about when you were talking about like legitimacy is some of the songs that we studied in school. It was like these. I was like people. My professor told me that it was a good song, and so I was conditioned to believe that it was like a good song. But then as I kind of like moved along, I was like, I don't know. Is this actually like a good composition, or are you just telling me it's a good composition? So one of the things one of my beliefs about music is that people will not take you seriously unless somebody else legitimizes you. And I was like, I don't know, going back to like the punk topic that you were talking about, like, why do I have to have somebody else tell me what I'm telling you? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Yeah, which is, and I think it should be important for somebody to blog about the incredible compilations that you've organized to legitimize it even further and give that further reach.
Yeah. So like I think it's just kind of loaded in the sense that the way I envision it is like so like when like punk like all these bands, this all happened during the 70s, and I honestly think during the 70s people were just allowed to do really whatever. I mean, like, in like the great film students like Steven Spielberg, blah blah blah. Like, it's literally Roger Corman going out to like random film schools and be like, okay, you, I'm gonna just fund whatever film projects you have. Just go at it. Just go nuts. Just do whatever you want. And then like now these are all like big time directors, right? Then like you have these people in like the 70s and 80s, and you know there's just no like established scenes for anything. So they're just like, okay, we're just going out. We're gonna go out. We're gonna just like do it ourselves. And I think there's a bit of that like that carries over. But the problem is like, okay, like this is just gonna become like a rant about capitalism for like like a quick second.
It wouldn't be die, Benji, die with.
So the
I love
problem
it. Yes.
is media saturation, and within the scope of media saturation, we have to like almost like it's not because like there's no effort to like self legitimize or just establish yourselves.
Right.
It's just because of the systems in play, the systems that are set up. They make it so that you necessarily almost need this outside element to be like, point at that thing. That thing is a thing now. I think what happens with like random things, like the reason why like vaporwave and all those like other things like became a thing is because they were like uh popular enough that like there was like a Pitchfork article about it, and like as like even if you don't like Pitchfork, even if you think like everything they write about is dumb, like if you think Vice is dumb, like I kind of think Vice is dumb, I think Pitchfork is dumb, but like the moment they kind of like speak it, it becomes part of like consciousness of everyone else because
right.
of how the capitalist model. God, I sound like a like the Republicans' idea of what college professors sound like. Like
this is what the liberal left was.
Yeah, this is what the liberal left wanted. But I guess my point is, what happened was just I don't know, like it was just too much of a hypersaturation. I think the problem with chiptune in that sense, even though because like it's the problem is the people who do end up writing about it and the language they use always loops back into the idea of like video games, which like even though right now video games is like this very productive or like profitable
right.
medium, there's still a layer of it where people don't take video games like legitimately in the sense of like art, right? Like people could understand like films as high art. Video games, even though there are like people who like artists like Xiao Fei, Feng Meng Bo, Jody, like who utilize video games and video game engines and just like created like these amazing works of art with it. There's still a layer where it's like, oh, this is just this is not art. And when you have that feedback loop of like chiptunes being related back into video games, even if like the musician themselves aren't even invested in video games in any scope of the imagination, the moment it feedback loops into like a gimmick that's not art, it almost like gets stuck in that loop. So like a lot of the early music blogs when they're talking about chiptunes, and this is where that like joke Mario at a rave comes from, is that's what happened. It's like everyone was just way too focused on writing about Mario at a rave, but no one was actually just talking about the music.
Right.
If that makes any sense.
It makes total sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Another thing I wanted to kind of talk about legitimacy is something I was seeing on Twitter, and I hope I'm not blowing up her spot, but it was published on Twitter, so I think it's okay to talk about. Was Game Genie Sokolov was making this post recently, who's amazing. I think Game Genie Sokolov is like a rock star.
Yeah.
But she was like talking about how, and I feel this way like Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. Like I always feel like this. Like like she was feeling like kind of down because like people in her scene and like in the Montreal scene, like she felt like she had made this really incredible album and like it didn't get noticed in the Montreal scene, and you know, she had brought up a lot of things, and she was in this post talking about like not fulfilling the second work that she was working on because she was just like, what's the point if no one's even gonna notice me? And I know that you had kind of like made a post about that too, about when we were about booking you for visuals. Is that right? Do I have that right?
Yeah. I mean, I
Yeah.
think I was kind of like make that post periodically, just because like emotions are emotions, and like very valid to feel those emotions sometimes.
Right. I was like, yeah, when she had posted that, I was thinking that, like, obviously, I don't want anyone to feel like that, but it was like, I thought that it was good because I think people, especially in the chiptune community, should talk about it more because
Yeah,
obviously she's feeling like that. I feel like that all the time. I've seen you feel like that. Like, I don't know. I just think it's something to talk about. I don't know if you want. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, there's definitely some strong opinions I have on this, in the sense that this is, again, I'm gonna go back to the stupid book. I'm gonna have to go back to the stupid book because get this book and literally read the chapters for Minor Threat, Black Flag, and do they have the Fugazi chapter? Um, I'm just double checking. Yeah, Fugazi's in here. Basically, any chapter with Ian McKay talking is very important for me. Not only just because like I've been like straight edge like my entire life, and like even though like Ian McKay also hates straight edge and apparently gets like prank called from like some teenagers that find out and they're like, oh, do you drink coffee, dude? Apparently, like, no, there's like an interview where he just jokes about that. It cracks me up, and I'm like, man, I want to call you up and be like, hey, do you drink coffee? But anyway, what's important was um Ian McKay, like, love him or hate him, because like he definitely wrote like some songs that are obviously going to age very terribly, and like I would never like, and even uh he talks about like he regrets all those songs too, so it's not like any different. But like what was important was Fugazi, like Minor Threat, like none of these bands were a band. Like Black Flag was a band, Minor Threat was a band because Ian McKay was like, F it, I want to do stuff myself, I want to do things. And they just kept making songs, they were launching their own label. But another layer to that, and people don't talk about this, I mean, technically Ian McKay is like one of the founders of emo, because I think like I forgot which band he was specifically in. Henry Rollins criticized it as like, oh, this is very emotional, it must be emo. Like emo wasn't a term, it was like, oh, this is emotional hardcore, right? And but what Ian McKay did as like this founding person was actually reach out and find new acts and legitimize things. Like Riot Girl was happening, so Ian McKay like legitimized Riot Girl acts. I mean, like like maybe some people may find that debatable to a degree, but my point is, this person did a lot of work going back into the community and finding people and pulling them out, and that is a kind of a missing piece of that feedback loop sometimes with chip people, in the sense, God, I feel like I'm throwing so many people under the bus at this point. But like I think what's important, like, and like, but this is so observable, like in other groups, like for example, PC Music, Sophie and AG Cook do a bunch of stuff. AG Cook like literally never put out an album. Their first album was just this year and was like 70 something tracks, and everyone like recognized it and everyone got it or whatever. But what they did was they were both doing this thing. They were looking for other people doing this thing. They were like finding people new getting into that thing, and that's the problem. Is sometimes I kind of feel like there's like that sort of like a cutoff, like where some people like reach this veteran status and they're just like, yeah, I did my thing.
Right.
And yeah, but like I'm not gonna necessarily place the blame definitely on that, because chiptune also had a lot of like tumultuous stuff happen, like oh my god, I'm definitely just throwing this group under the bus.
Just say it. It's
Yeah.
like Voldemort. It's like...
yeah, like like that's the thing. I just don't want to like rub anyone the wrong way, and like I actually think I actually think some of these things were good in spirit, but like they're just executed wrong. But like one major thing that was really prevalent that started in 2012, and I remember being wary of it in 2012. Like I remember it was the Facebook group Chip equals win, and I was just like, I'm a little wary about this. I'm very wary about this because this is recontextualizing all the languages that I really didn't want to move.
Even at that time in 2012, like
yeah, because at that time, like chip musicians, well, there was a lot of chip dubstep because dubstep got huge.
Right.
But during that time, you know, we had people like Talk to Animals get big, kind of. Unicorn Kid was a thing. You know, who else? Like, I think Nova was from that time period. I would argue this is like second wave or third wave. I mean, if we consider Starscream / Infinity Shred second wave. No, I remember I did a Facebook post on like me trying to like categorize the waves, and I got eviscerated. People just do not like it when I do stuff like this.
Man.
But like, I guess my point is during that time, like we were already kind of moving away from a lot of those like preconceived notions. Then comes this group that like almost like accelerates that preconceived notion and almost becomes the dominant voice in everything, you know. And they did everything, like, you know, they did compilations, they did blogs, they did, and like more power to them because they did keep like a scene alive. But at the same time,
yeah, they were like the Amazon of chiptune. They like
yeah,
you know.
Yeah, no, I mean that's a great comparison, but like, but that's the problem is like, but the way that they did it, like, it's weird because they were kind of doing all the things that like Ian McKay and all of them were doing, but like in a way that like was kind of very detrimental to the scene. Because then like when you tie it so heavily to like themes of nostalgia, the themes of like, you know, especially like during like 2012, like this is like pre Gamergate, but like you saw it brewing. You saw it brewing, and it was just like crazy. Like it was just like, it was for me personally crazy just because of like someone that's just invested in all this. Like at that time, I was volunteering for Games for Change, Indiecade, etc. Just seeing people take these like valiant efforts to break away from something and then be like, no, I'm gonna encapsulate you.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. Like for me, like when it becomes like, yeah, like that's kind of like the scary thing about chiptunes in a sense. Like, because there was a period of time before chip equals win that I feel like everyone forgets about. And it was literally everyone just doing their own thing. And we were slowly learning about each other, and we were slowly like being like, oh yeah, no, that's a thing. Oh yeah, your guys are doing this over there, that's the thing. Like, you know, it was happening, right? Then you get this like thing that dominates the entire conversation. Then everyone afterwards becomes almost like I don't want to say dependent, but like, you know, we're missing like that centralized voice now, right? And I think that's what happens is right now, like it becomes like whenever anyone does do a thing, like everyone looks to them like it seems like there's a lot of people looking for like the next centralized voice. And in those sorts of situations, like when we're relying on like a handful of people to sort of like carry things forward, it's hard because like the people at the head of those things aren't going to be hyper aware of everything. Like that's
Right.
impossible.
Right.
Um, so I think when it comes to like community, like like that's definitely like a strong fear to have, like being like overlooked, and that happens kind of rapidly. Like yeah, I don't know. Is it the human condition to like make like god kings of like or like of people like to make idols? Like I don't know. Like I sometimes wonder. Like do we like
I
it's
think it
weird because
is. Yeah,
yeah
it is, and also to like identify and organize, which is something else. Like I think you were kind of talking about over organizing or over identifying.
yeah
That's a huge challenge for organizers, and I'm a huge a bit of chiptune Cass Cuttlefish stan, but
yeah
like you and Cass, like these are challenges when you're trying to curate an experience or a community
yeah
that you have to yeah, I don't know, that you have to like keep in your head.
yeah. And I definitely can't speak for Cass in this. I'm like just because like I believe she faces like her own like breadth of challenges, like handling something as big as a bit of chiptune and everything she does, like just amazing work, right? um I was kind of like thinking about this while while you were talking about like identities and stuff. It's
Right.
like so like one of my longtime friends in the chip scene is Kevy, who organized all the 8-bit LA stuff. Um, is like they're not interested in like doing like just chip only things. I mean like they're basically kind of done and that's over with. Like that's the thing that's over now, and that's the problem. Also, I kind of feel it's like when you become reliant on like a few people, there's going to be burnout, and you're just like, and admittedly, like I think whenever I make those sorts of posts, I'm definitely burnt out. Like it's hard not to feel that burnout,
Right.
because like there's not only that layer of like obscurity that like some people seem to love, but also some people like I mean I kind of resent it. I actually absolutely resent it. It doesn't make any sense for it to be for something to like that I think is just so goddamn important. I mean what like I don't know how else to say it. Like like I got into this like when I was 14. I literally didn't think I was going to be doing this in my 30s.
Right.
Like like I mean by now like geez, I thought like if anything this should have been a band that ended like when I was like what like 21, right? but but you know for me like I get heartbroken whenever I hear of like a lot of these people moving away from chip. um and sure that like leaves room, but like my point, I guess my overall point is uh it's just hard not to need the vehicle of like someone actively looking, like someone that's an outside observer out of all of us, to be honest, that's actively looking and just like pointing all this out, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I think it does. I mean, yeah.
Because like that's the problem I have is like like because if you're relying on like a handful of people to like be ever vigilant, like you're burning them out. You're
Right.
burning me out. Like I'm not saying like I'm like for me, I think I'm just a masochist. Like I think I just like know like I just feel burnt out all the time. So this is just like my modus operandi at this point. I'm just like, I'm just a hype guy. Like I literally just hype people up for no reason. Hey,
All
but
right. I have
sorry.
I have a ton more questions, but I don't want to keep you all night, so I'm gonna limit it to two.
No, keep me
Okay.
all night. I
I know.
could go all night.
Oh, we're also Cass is hilarious. She goes, "I can speak for Cass." So,
Yeah.
okay. So I'm pulling a 180. So hot topic. Ready?
Hot topic.
Cyberpunk 2077. Go.
Oh my god. Okay, here's my opinion on Cyberpunk 2077. I literally did not give a fuck when they announced it, I only started giving a fuck recently because everyone won't shut the fuck up about it. And it's weird for me. I was just like, okay, like there's nothing good about this game. Like what is the appeal? Like I never saw the initial appeal. Like I remember when they first like showed in like an E3, I was just like, how are people not already like seeing through this? This is just overpromise, and you're not going to get the experience that they're advertising. This is not even like a game yet. We're watching a movie where this person is turning into like a multi-form Ghost in the Shell thing. You know what other game showed something like that? Dark Sector. Swear to God, look up Dark Sector. Like try and find their early like E3 videos, and Dark Sector is like the most mind-blowing game. You're like, oh my god, this is gonna be Ghost in the Shell, the game. I'm so pumped. You could do all this stuff. You could do all the stealth stuff. It comes out. It's not even the same game anymore. You're just this person with like a fancy boomerang, and like I played it like because I was hyped for it, and I was because like I wanted to like what I was like 16 at the time or 17 I guess. Well, 17 I guess because it's rated. But what to call it? Like so when it comes to like, it's so weird for me. Like, so Cyberpunk comes out, or like it's coming out, and like there's all this like marketing for it, which, like okay, like I feel like Keanu Reeves will just say yes to anything. Like I don't have anything wrong with Keanu Reeves. I feel like he's like one of the few like mixed Asian people out there in Hollywood. Like his entire existence is just to like have people be comfortable with like Asian leads in some sense, even though like like oh just
God.
like middle America. It's like, ooh, there's an Asian person playing a major role, like without like trying to make it exotic.
Oh my god.
But then like there was like what like the whole conversation started with this advertisement where they had this like person, and they're like, oh, you could be trans in this game, and like, oh, you could be trans in this game was this obsession with like genitalia. And like honestly, here's how I feel about Cyberpunk 2077. Do you remember San Andreas, where there was like this mod where everyone like fought each other with like dildos or whatever?
Oh wait, yes, I do.
It's literally that in a game expanded. It's literally just that section, that mod, right, where it's like, oh, everyone has a dildo, blah blah. Like the focus that they put in genitalia and stuff, I was just like, who's making this game? A bunch of like 14-year-olds? Like, who is this? Like how is this like mind blowing? Like, you guys are literally obsessed. Like, you guys just want this game just because you're like, oh, I got big tits and a big dick. Like, it's just like the most like 14-year-old crap I've ever seen. Like, what is this? And like, there's like so much hype for this. And I was just like, what is any of this? It doesn't like what is any of that? Like, I don't know. That's I literally did not want to ever post about it until recently because people like, I guess it's coming out. I want it to come out. I want it to bomb so badly because then I don't necessarily like another rant I'm just going to quickly have about Cyberpunk 2077 because I was thinking about this earlier. It's like the few people that are going to get this game are trying to defend it by being like, oh, but the workers worked so hard on it. I mean, they had to delay the games, blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, you're literally not supporting the workers. You're supporting the mechanism that drives these people into like 200-hour work weeks.
Right.
What good are you doing it? If this game bombs, you're never going to have to face this crunch time again for this game that no one was passionate about. Like, literally, like, it's such a passionless game. It's a game where it's a good game about how like marketing works. I mean, goddamn, like marketing is effective, isn't it? Like, I didn't realize how effective it was until just like, I mean, I guess like, there's you always know how good marketing is, but like that's literally the game is just 100% marketing. I don't even know what the game's about. I literally don't know what the game's about. Like, I literally do not like. I get okay. Cyberpunk 2077. Like, you have a genre and a date. What is the game about?
Right.
what like is the game like is the focus of the game the fact that you could have this character creation where you have multiple genitals? Like, okay, if that's the case, then why not just download Make Human, which is like a free software where you literally that's all you do is just make models and you could just do whatever you want with the model. So just go have it. Just add all the genitals you want. Like I don't care. Like what is like where's that like my point is what is the game? Like, what is the game that people are looking forward to? Like because that's all anyone talks about is like, oh, I could make my person do this with like 15 boobs. It's like it's like is there anything else? Like is there a story?
All right, two more.
Yeah.
I think that was pretty good. Okay. Okay, two more questions. The first one is easy, and then the last one is really long. Okay, so where can people find you and buy Restore and Continue?
So you can find Restore and Continue on continuecomp.bandcamp.com. So that's just continue the word with COMP for compilation.bandcamp.com. And you could find me on Twitter, Die Benji Die. That's my name. I'm literally always there, even though I don't intend to be, but I'm always living there. I'm just always there. This is like my Tumblr days, except it's like a new vice, right? Like I have to live on the internet somehow. I became like Tumblr went under. I became homeless. I had to find a new home.
Oh, no. All right. I think this next question is actually a good exercise in what you were talking about in giving artists identity instead of becoming like one big chiptune blob. Okay, so it's a 10-minute question.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Wait, the whole question is 10 minutes?
Yes, and it starts now.
Oh,
no,
okay.
You get 10 minutes for this response.
10 minutes. Ooh, okay.
Okay, so you have 32 artists on Restore, including yourself. You have 10 minutes, so roughly that's 20 seconds per artist to say something about each artist.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
And you have to include yourself, too.
Oh my goodness. All right. Do you want me to go in like track order or something?
I think, yeah, I mean, any way you like. Yeah.
And like, you want me to talk about, is this just like shout outs or like, I guess like I'm trying to be, I'm kind of curious as to like what, like me on my own opinions about the songs or the group or.
I'll leave it pretty freeform, but like maybe an experience or what you think about the song or a quick story you have. And I'm not going to cut you off after 10 minutes, although that would be hilarious. But
oh my God. Yeah, because you're making it so much harder now.
I know, for real. It's a challenge. It's a challenge.
The Cry Benji Cry challenge. If I start crying, you know why.
By the way, I started the time watch like 2 minutes
Oh my
ago,
God. No, don't do that to me. You're gonna make me vomit. I swear. All right. The first artist, Indiana Joe. Oh my goodness, where can I literally start? Because I've been waiting on this song for such a long time. Kyle is honestly someone who gives me a lot of hope and just a lot of things. The way I met Kyle was actually when I was making this organizer Discord. I was like reaching out to anybody. I was just like talking to people because I wanted to see what was going on in the world. And I really wanted a space where all the organizers would talk to each other and then like it became like a thing. I mean, it was happening for a little bit, but like, I guess like, you know, like, you know, everyone has their own lives and, you know, things are complicated, I guess. I don't know what it is. Because like there were a lot of people that used to do like really ambitious organization stuff that stopped doing it. Like Nemesis did this 24-hour live stream around the world under binary chiptune, and that was very ambitious, and they pulled it off, and it was amazing. But then, like, what are they doing right now? And that's what I'm saying, like with like the burnout. But okay, going back to Kyle, the way I met Kyle, I was looking at someone to like see what was going on in Atlanta. I guess I got like contacted with him, and I don't know how it happened. I think we just became like best friends from just doing the first Continue album. Just because they did this like phenomenal cover of this Jeff Rosenstock, Rosenstock, Rosenstock. I don't know the dude's name. I literally like. It's funny because I knew about the guy and like the music, and it was always on my like list of things to check out because I have way too many things I need to check out, like books, movies, everything. Like video games that are completely backlogged, and it was because of his cover I got into his like other group. And so for this song, I remember I honestly felt so brokenhearted because I was like kind of like being like, okay, we need to have your song on this album because if you see the album cover, that's his close friend who does have EDS. It's a painting of Karsten.
Oh dang.
Yeah, that Karsten's partner did, and Kyle like did some embellishments to like make it like fancy for an album art, I guess. But this is how we even came up with the idea for the charity, for the just the entire thing itself. So I pushed Kyle really hard to like be like, we need an Indiana Joe track because I really want this to be a very personal album because it is a very personal thing. This is like, this is someone I don't really know. Like I still haven't interacted with Karsten myself. Like this is definitely all you. I'm just essentially a car that you drive to just make the wheels go. I guess I don't know. Like I don't know how cars work. Magic, right? You just you put the key in, and then like Harry Potter that shit. I guess, or I don't know, just whatever. But so when I first heard this song, it was like this demo, like literally 4 days before album release, and I was just like, I was going to be stoked for the song regardless, right? Maybe that's just like me being like very partial in some sense, but like I remember when I first heard like just like the opening chords, I was just like, this is mind blowing. Like this reminds me of an anime theme song. I don't know which one. But yeah, so when I first heard it, I don't know. It was so amazing. It was so amazing the timing of how we got the song because like we were doing the Data Fruits listening party and Kyle just DMs me. It's like it's ready, and I was just like, we're gonna play it. We're gonna freaking play it. We're gonna just like I want people to listen to it because I already heard it, and I want everyone to experience it the more like the way I experienced it, and like everyone loved it. I mean, people still talk about it. Like people like really love this song, and I'm like happy. Like that is awesome. All right, TTB. TTB. Ooh my god. How do I talk about TTB?
That's a Boston chiptune band. Thank you very much, Boston. Yes, that's right.
Yeah. God, I don't even know where to really begin with TTB, just because it's just like I find it. I've been into TTB. Okay, can I go into like a little short tangent real quick?
Okay. You got 30 bands, by the way.
I know. I'm sorry. But so the other so like I said, like chiptune compilations were for me a very important thing, just getting into chip music and stuff. Like Chip for Cancer Volume 1 is definitely one of my favorite compilations. One of my other favorite compilations was Equilibrium, was released by Ubik Tune. I know Pterodactyl Squad did a lot of like the Weezer compilations, which I loved. Like these were all very formative things for me. But one of the most formative things that ever happened for me personally was the second Play It Loud compilation. Because I remember I got it because I was just like, oh, okay, it has like 5 people I know. or like two people I know, and I just want to like get this. And I remember it's not TTB who initially like blew me out, like because they were in it, but like the song that like got me to like really pay attention to whatever the hell was happening in that album, and this is relevant because like Boy Without Batteries is on this album. But I remember I was on a plane ride to Chicago to New York, and this was first year of grad school, and I was coming home for Christmas, I think, like coming to New York for Christmas. And in this plane ride on my iPod, I was playing the Boys Without Batteries song as the plane was like landing. And you ever like listen to a song and you're just like basically in this other realm? Like you just like feel tingles all over. And I remember when I first heard this Boys Without Batteries song, I was just like, this is why I love chiptune. Like this is it. Like this is what I've been missing like the past 3 years. Like, you know, like it just like this compilation meant so much to me. Like the Play It Loud second compilation, like it had this mix of genres, this mix of styles in a way that like most other chip compilations didn't like necessarily do at the time. And that's how I got into TTB. Like, you know, obviously I started paying attention to who else was on the album. And I remember at the time, I think TTB released Slimy Quagmire, and I literally could not shut up about it to like all of everyone I talked to, because like the first song, January 27th.
Oh, that's such a
like,
good one.
Like the line where it's like, you know, you saw me cry into my French
Dude,
fries.
I was gonna say, I saw you cry into my. It was so good.
That like that reminded me of. I think this is going to relate to us more because like, you know, East Coast and all that.
Yeah.
Like every freaking diner hangout, like late night diner hangout that I've ever had with like friends, loved ones, etc. I mean, I guess loved ones, and that's not the phrase. Like people you had a crush on. What do you call those people? I don't know. Lovers? I don't want to say lovers. That sounds weird. You know, but like, you know, like that line, you saw me cry into my French fries, I saw you cry into your French fries. Like, I don't know why that line just like
that totally stuck out for me too. Yeah, I love that.
Like it like compelled me, and I was just like, what? And I don't even know how I got like in contact with them. I think I just like followed them on Twitter, and they like immediately followed me back. And then like, you know, I think I met them through Shadru in some way. But I was just like, okay, like besides a Slimy Quagmire, one of the other very important album releases that I've ever experienced was the Slime Girls Vacation Wasteland release back in 2012 was when I got into them, because I was driving to California to move because I was burnt out of like living in Queens by myself, and I really wanted to basically start my life over. So my goal was literally to move to California and become like a internet cartoonist. It didn't happen. I got into grad school and I dropped out of grad school, and then I moved back to New York, worked in a Hot Topic GameStop, and then went back into a grad school in Chicago. But so TTB. Right. Oh, no, Slime Girls Vacation Wasteland. Okay, Slime Girls Vacation Wasteland was very important for that time period because I was just kind of getting burnt out on chiptune musicians focusing way too much on making sounds that are like very tied to electronic dance music, which is not necessarily a bad thing. But I think there's just like a certain layer of like, we understand that, like, I don't know, for me, it was just like, we understand that the vehicle that you're using is a synth, but to use it in a genre of, or like make the stylistic choices where you're kind of already emulating other song styles. I don't know. It's just like, I guess like, it's like a weird thing. So like when I first heard like Vacation Wasteland, it just like made me remember like, oh yeah, you could totally just have a band with it. You know, and so like TTB, like I remember when I first like we first interacted, like Joey's just I don't know.
Joey's amazing.
There's just not enough time and words that I could talk about with TTB. So
all right, quick thing
Yeah.
that you have to ask Joey sometime. Joey's mad interesting. I got lunch with Joey in New York one time, and like I was just trying to make it real quick because I was like, I was doing something, and he drops this bomb on me, and so we end up having lunch for like 2 hours. He like tells me that I forget he either lived with or she used to come over all the time, but it was Mike Pence's daughter during the 2016 election. So you have to ask Joey about that because it is.
Ooh,
like,
that's a lot.
It was wild. It was wild, and I had to like cancel my plans for that day because I was just like, Joey, tell me more. But okay, all right.
I need to talk to him about that. Okay.
Okay, keep going. I'm hijacking your.
Yeah.
thing.
No,
Okay.
no worries. So next group is Guitar Fight from Fooly Cooley. I literally had no idea who they were. Kyle hyped them up. Kyle and Zac Efron actually hyped them up and like, talked briefly about how like big they are in like this like emo scene. And what do you call it? I remember when I first heard the song "Happy Thoughts" 3 times or times 3. I fell in love with it. I went to their Bandcamp immediately, bought their first every album that they had. You have to listen to this track, Another Reuben George, I believe. It's off their like first EP or whatever. There's a line in it. The lyric is and I'm a fool, or wait, hold on. Wait, let me just give me a second to like quickly look up this line.
Okay.
It's off their album Alpha Omega Murphy. Okay. Oh yeah. This is the lyric. It's like I can't believe that I'm here in this world playing games and music for no one that even fucking cares that much. It just sucks that I'm a fool and I'm not even cool with these skin tight jeans that don't mean shit to anyone but me. This like section, I was just like, this is my entire life. This is literally my entire life. And when I heard that line, I like listened to this album like nonstop. I think I listened to this album nonstop since October, and I'm just absolutely blown away. Like then I actually finally got into listening to their second album, which is Soak, and their second song is about Kingdom Hearts. And yeah, no, that was enough for me to just been like, this is it. I found my band. I found what I was looking for all these years in like emo music. I found it. But yeah, so we have Wage Their Battle. Wage Their Battle is actually just in Thursday for Thursday Customs. You ever had a mod of the Game Boy?
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. Which wait, do you mind if I grab it real quick?
Go for it. Yeah.
Hold on.
Should we do a commercial real quick?
Yeah.
All right. Oh wait, is it coming back?
No.
No. Oh, he's back. No, he's
What's
gotta
up?
get through this segment. Nothing. We were gonna play another commercial.
Well,
I
I
really
know
do-
that we will.
One of the songs, right?
We should do one more before we end.
Okay. All right. We're gonna play Zac Efron, and then
Okay,
we're
yeah,
coming
go
back for
for
the
it.
list. And it'll give
Yeah,
you a
go for
second
it.
to like. Okay.
Yeah.
Now we're gonna.
Which one?
I think it's the third one we didn't do.
Yeah. Um, so I'm back, and the only reason I kind of stepped away was I just wanted to show off this. It's a modded Game Boy that Justin Thursday modded. Oh, my camera's
Oh
here.
wow, that is so cool.
Yeah,
That's
I mean the sticker I put on. But yeah, I mean I had this thing like forever. Like I had other modded Game Boys before this, but like I kind of like gave them away to people because I was kind of hoping like by giving people the stuff to like make chip music that they would make it, but I guess some of them just never did. So this is just like I guess like my logic behind it was like I wanted like the fancy guitar of like Game Boys, so I had all this done like it's like this like square casing from uh what's that one Kitsch Bend
oh
and
yeah, yeah, yeah.
ASM retro did this mirror
Oh damn.
display and like a bunch of other mods, but yeah, like silicone buttons, everything. Just really wanted like something that was just like uniquely mine, I guess. And it is uniquely mine just because this faceplate you can't even get anymore. So, but yeah, like that was Justin Thursday who was behind that, and that's Justin Thursday's Wager Battle. It's interesting because Tony Monotony is the one who was able to like establish this connection, and what they kind of did was they sent us their entire EP and then just like said, okay, just pick a song, and you have to listen to this EP. God, I'm not gonna remember what the EP was called, so I'm quickly just looking it up myself.
He's
This
just put
is
a new one out.
He just put a new one out.
Yeah.
Chris says
Or
Mono.
he is putting a new one out.
What's that?
My producer.
Oh, my producer, Chris says that he just put one out,
Either just put one out or has put a new one out.
or he's putting one out soon.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. Well, either way, it's this EP, Neglect and Decay, the 4-year demo by Waster Battle. It's 5 songs and then 5 instrumental versions of the same songs. Oh wow, it's funny. I'm one of the 2 supporters.
Aw.
Well, like like I guess like there's like people without Bandcamp accounts that like don't show up.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, we listened through all of them, and it was just like a discussion between me, Tony, and Kyle, like just trying to pick the best one. We were in love with all of them. We were like, all of these work. It was like kind of hard because like we just had to pick just one,
Right.
and so yeah, like we just picked the one that we liked the most, and that's kind of how that ended up. Balefire is another connection with Monotony or Tony. Balefire is a musician, Metroid Mike. Is it Metroid Mike? It's like MYK.
That's Neil's friend, Metroid.
Oh, Metroid Mike is friends with Brookbaker.
Yeah.
Oh, dope.
Okay. So yeah, like someone.
Breaker was he did Sorry with us. So
Oh yeah, true.
that's another.
Oh, okay.
Running out of time.
Yeah. What to call it? So Balefire was this.
Was on that compilation that they're talking about.
Wait, sorry, I'm getting kind of distracted, but.
Oh,
Wait,
sorry.
what was I saying? No,
keep going.
it's
Keep
fine.
going. Sorry.
Yeah. So Balefire was just this band that Metroid Mike was in. I didn't even know that this band existed, and Tony reached out to them, and they submitted this song, like definitely like high energy pop punk. Like I don't know what else to say about it. It's just it's just great. Like it's just definitely an interesting sound. Kind of unique, like in the sense of like I kind of like I'm just like kind of very curious about this like aesthetic or like sound aesthetic and also just like a song title aesthetic. Like it's like play kind of into like it's like yeah, like you're kind of playing into those like gaming tropes again. But like when I think of like fuck yeah, we're going on a quest, it just reminds me of tabletop gaming for whatever reason, like tabletop RPGs. And I just really like that for whatever reason. Colon open bracket, which is the sad face that most people don't recognize. I am honestly shocked that I was even able to pull that off. I did not realize I was going to be able to pull that off, but it was a shot in the dark. Dark. Um, what happened was I just noticed that they were like posting stuff again on Facebook, and you know they literally did not do anything for a very long time. So I thought they were just like very much done, which I don't blame them for doing that. But why is it important that they're on this album? Is like colon open bracket is like if there is just like a scene of like just chip emo people, they're definitely the progenitor, or not the progenitor, like the first one, pioneer. Because I remember I was like 19 and I found them through MySpace. Like those were the days, right? Find everyone through MySpace. And you know, just the fact that we were able to just get them to like contribute. It's interesting because I found out with the conversation that I had with Mark that his wife also has this condition, EDS.
Oh shit.
So it was definitely something that they really wanted to contribute to because it was like very important to them.
Right.
And I was just like, wow, that's crazy. Like, what are the odds? What are the odds that I would be like talking to someone I idolized when I was like 19?
Damn.
And also like that it would be something that's like super like prevalent to their lives, right? So yeah, next is Hyper Demon. Hyper Demon's awesome. So Hyper Demon is Doug, who is in the band. Blueberry AV was in the band playing Tourist, which was this like chip punk style band, like but punk in the style of like Japanther, Cloud Nothings, that sort of style, like what's that one? No Age, that sort of style. And Doug also does music under Little Combat. And I always knew that like Doug was into like emo music and like did like some of those like stylistic decisions with Little Combat. What I didn't realize was going to happen was Hyper Demon was literally a band formed because Doug was writing music for this compilation. Like this was not a band that existed. Like this, like
yeah.
So that's awesome. Like that, like people were like literally making bands that exist to like put in songs. Then next is Chrono Trigger. The reason I say that very slowly is I always read it as Chrono Trigger, and I know that that's like the point. Like
right.
you just take the letters and switch it, but like it's so hard for me because like that's one of like my favorite games of all time. But this track, this was actually our original opener for the longest time. I felt like this was the thing that people needed to listen to like really understand the feels for this album. So just the fact that they were able to contribute this amazing song that like literally every draft up until we got the TTB track, this was the first song. I was just like, no, this has to be the first song. It's like the only thing that makes sense. And then it got switched when we got the TTB song. Yeah, no. I mean, like that's because like Vera was like talking about how like the TTB song made sense as an album opener because it's like very lyrical, and she noticed that there's a lot of songs in this album that's very lyrical, so it just was like the perfect vibe. Then Indiana Joe comes along, and we're like, no, this is it. Yeah, this is it. But yeah, so next is Pulsing. Like, oh god, it's like one of those other like groups that I don't know how to like cram so much in like this tiny time space. Okay, so Pulsing, basically what happened was I think I was watching one of the Calm Down Kidders like
Chip
streams.
Fest.
Yeah, Chip Fest, that's what it's called. And Pulsing was like had like an audio visual performance where like and I always like kind of pictured like reaching out to Pulsing at some point anyway, because like I just always knew that they would like fit in because I always knew that they had like a pop punk kind of sound to them. But like I remember it was like this like amazing like audio visual set where like they were like it showed them like partying, like they were just doing all these like skits. It was just like this like high energy, and I was like, no, we definitely need something like that in the compilation. I definitely want you, like, please contribute. And not only did they contribute to this, but they also performed for Bit by Bit, which was crazy because I basically kind of asked them at the same time for both, and the fact that they were able to do both was amazing.
Wow.
I'm Jar, Blip, and Sweet. I love this song. When I first heard it, it reminded me so much about like Power Supply on Amanaguchi, and just anyone who's able to like kind of capture that sort of sound is very, especially on a compilation like this, is very important. Uh, like just generally speaking, like I think that's just like a hard thing to do. Like I know like I kind of feel like there's a lot of chip musicians out there that try to like recapture that sort of sound because it is, that's probably like their first instance into Chip King. For me, it wasn't my first instance, but I remember when I first heard Power Supply, that was a very significant part of my life. So anyone who was able to like do that, just the fact that they were able to and they contributed to the song is just beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, not to like just discredit like their own identity, just saying that like it's just amazing that they were able to like make something comparable to that in that sense. Um, Petroform was easy. Okay, like I don't mean to like what I meant by that is Petroform contributed to the first Continue compilation. They created the song Better, and I was just like I remember listening to that song like a million times because I heard all of these songs like a million times to the point that like I could karaoke most of these songs. um, but I remember it was because like when we were like first like I said, like when we were first gestating like who to reach out to, like Petroform was already on the list because I was just like thinking about like all the people that like on the first album that I felt like felt fit into this vibe I was looking for, I guess. Just like, um emo chip vibe, in a sense. 3x Blast, the best move is to just keep going. This song blew my freaking mind when I first heard it, when it was first submitted. Um, because I don't know, like I guess like I haven't necessarily heard 3x Blast's previous songs prior to like the submission. I mean, I have their entire discography right now. Like I'm slowly like going through everybody buying their stuff. Just but like like I'm not like made of money, so it's a very slow like backlog. But like I remember when I first heard the song, like how do I say? I was really actually kind of jealous of this song, uh, because there's a layer of it where like I was kind of pictured myself trying to involve Vocaloid music in a way that like it's like something different from like what you expect Vocaloid music to be.
Mm-hmm.
Just because there's like a part of me that thinks in my head, I don't know how to say it. Like I kind of feel like there's like a part, like it's not there yet, but like it kind of happened like during like feature bass, and I was like actually expecting like it to be like pushed further, where like people were like pushing like Vocaloid music in a way that it's not like it's like divorced from like that anime context. But like 3x Blast kind of like kept some of that anime context and also like made these like stylistic choices and sounds that was very relevant to like emo sounds, and also had like chip sounds to it. Just like the trifecta of all these things that I've been like thinking about.
Right.
And just being able to pull it off is just like, it's just of course I'm gonna be jealous. Like I'm gonna be like hella jealous. Like, okay, next is the y-axis. Devin Nelson contributed to the first Continue under Deb and Decibel. And I knew that the y-axis was their like main focus. I think at some point I read somewhere like the way that they were like branding themselves for a bit was like space rock or something, and I was just like, oh, okay, like I kind of feel that, like, you know, in the sense of like space rock being like this song by Weezer and Maladroit. um, but what's really awesome about the song, and like one thing I really noticed that people talked about is the vocalist and the y-axis. Like, I guess like, you know, everyone who listens to the song was like, oh, Haley Williams vibes, Haley Williams vibes. I definitely feel that. Like, I definitely 100% feel that. Yeah, like, honestly, I was just like thinking, like, it was just like one of those early list people that, like I said, like, you know, like I was planning on reaching out to them. I knew like the y-axis performed with like bands like Crying before anyway, so like they played with like Crying. I think they play a lot with like Curious Quail, because they like live in this like happy medium of like being sort of like within pop punk but also like indie.
Right.
Like, so like if you listen to the rest of their music, so you can just like play with like bands like Curious Quail and like no one's gonna bat an eye, because like, you know, Curious Quail is very much this like melodic indie style kind of music, you know, with like violins and all this orchestration. um yeah, whole tangent talking about y-axis. But yeah, my point is it was definitely someone that like had eyes on, in the radar, made sense. Like, I listened to a couple tracks, I was like, that definitely fits into the vibe that I'm looking for. So reached out to them, they submitted it, and it blew my mind. Love it. Hang On, Get Ready, West for Winter. This song, Tony, like, giving all the credit to Tony, even though like me and Hang On, Get Ready, and his name's also Anthony. That's going to be really freaking confusing. Anthony and I were like mutuals. Anthony actually does a lot of stuff in Buffalo, like, I guess like Buffalo organization under Bit Crushed. Let me look up Twitter real quick, just because I want people to be aware about this. Bit Crushed.
They're amazing. I love Hang On, Get Ready. They have one of those, like, when I first learned about them, they had like one of those masks, so it was like the immediate like Spider-Man syndrome, like, what do they look like? I want to know.
That's awesome. Yeah, so they organized under Bit Crushed chip tune shows with local games and Sick Viz in Buffalo, New York twice a year. Follow them on Twitter. It's this Bit Crushed chip, just at Bit Crushed chip. I guess I could type it in the chat. Twitter.com. Bit Crushed chip. This chip. Anyway, going back to the track, Tony is the one who, Monotony Tony. Oh god, it's already confusing. They're the ones who reached out to them, and like they were on my radar because I kind of knew that they were doing like this like chip rock style, and I thought they were going to fit in anyway. And the fact that like they were able to like capture this sort of style was just awesome, and being able to contribute. So here between you and me, that's Terrence. Terrence and I are good friends. Definitely one of those people, like I said, like already on my like early draft of people that like I knew that was going to fit in. And like, you know, here between you and me is like one of like the big like names in like emo chip in like the SoCal area. So I was just like, no, you need to submit a track, and they submitted us a unreleased demo.
Oh wow.
So I was just like, hell yeah, no, that's so sick. Speaking of unreleased demos, I think that's related to excuse me, Kara Walks Home as well. Kara Walks Home typically is Will and Rob Duffy, who is in the band Slime Girls, who also does stuff under Cyclops Rock, who also mastered the first album.
Yeah.
So
Rob's super busy. He like, yeah.
Yeah, like if you like listen to anything chiptune or like just anything related to that, you know Rob. And Kara Walks Home was actually my blueprint of like what I expected from this album, in the sense that I was like looking at these bands where I was like, these bands are strictly emo, but like it would make more sense if they played with these like chip emo bands.
Right.
And like it would totally like work. It would just 100% work. And so that I was happy that they were able to contribute this song. I guess like the bass line was done entirely in Guitar Pro. Like that's a Guitar Pro MIDI bass for this demo, and that you could have fooled me. I thought that was like a normal bass. That's like the best bass sound I've ever heard. Um, okay, next is Floral Tattoo. Floral Tattoo is a band Vera really loves, and really respects, and just like a million layers to it. Like definitely I will. This is like my first time learning about the band, and this song is just beautiful. This line, I don't. This line is what like. So it's like I guess there's like second verse. It's like let's see. This line, this phrase is like kind of cool. I guess like I have to read this whole part. I'm not gonna read the whole lyrics, but like the beginning is just like drink some water. You didn't lose a whole lot of blood back there, but a loss of blood, still a loss of blood. So drink up, drink up. So a toast to all the things we're leaving behind. And this part, to dead names, addictions, and bodies that we hate, to cancers and blood clots, and the risks that we take to a new day. Say, hey, drink up while you can, because water is something that we need to survive. Wow. Over and over, the hormones, they're taking over. I'm afraid to admit it, but I'll admit that I don't know where I'm going, or what I'm doing with my life. I don't know, like just this. God, that is so goddamn important, and I'm so happy it's in the freaking song, and I want people to read these lyrics because holy shit, just holy shit. And then they follow it up with "To hell with it all." I just love it. It's just everything about the song is like I like relate to very heavily. Not to like get into like a lot of personal things, but it is something that I could like heavily relate to with my life. So speaking of my life, the next song is a song I submitted. I submitted this after submissions were closed, and the only reason I submitted it, no. So over the summer, I was planning on submitting an track to this compilation. I was already deciding between this song and a dad song that I really like, and I was debating on between which two songs I want to cover and submit. I knew I was going to cover this song, but the problem was we were talking about this before the show. Like the job search was just driving me nuts. So and I was already like organizing this thing, and so there was like finally space when Casey was just mastering all the tracks, where I was like, whoa, I don't really have to do anything at this moment. So I spent like 2-3 days on it, just making the song. Yeah. I was like, I could finally do the thing that I wanted to do. So, and personally, I was debating between this teen suicide song and another teen suicide song that I relate to. I relate to both of these. So, I mean, that's why I included it, because I was like really hoping that a lot of people submitted like Salvia Plath, teen suicide kind of style, like alternative emo. That's what the Spotify genre calls it, alternative emo sounds. Okay, next is Superfetch. Superfetch is one of the earliest contributors to the compilation. I don't know if they found us through Tony or not. I don't really. Huh?
I told Superfetch. He might have found a different way, but I was like, because Superfetch was. He was like, when I first met him, now he's like taken off, but he was like, oh, like I don't know anyone, and when you were like, oh, I'm booking for this new album, I tagged Superfetch, and I was like, yo, Superfetch, you gotta submit to this, but maybe he found you another way too.
No, I mean, I think no, because I remember having that conversation with you, and you were definitely reaching out to a lot of artists. Regarding this comp and the other comp.
Right.
The fact that they submitted and this amazing song too, I'm glad that they found us. I wasn't really aware of that entire background, to be quite honest. I really like that. That's what I'm hoping for. People that don't necessarily feel like they necessarily belong, or they're established or whatever. That's
right.
who I want submitting stuff. That's because I want people. I want to find people. I want to know people.
Right. Same.
Um,
Yeah.
so I'm super glad for that context. I was just going to talk about like anime and stuff because like we got into like a lot of conversations about anime afterwards after the submission, but like yeah, never mind. Okay, next track is "Don't Blink or You'll Die."
Oh man, hell yeah!
This song, like it's like the reason I reached out to Nathan is like it was a freak fest. I love Nathan.
Nathan's dope.
Yeah, like here's how I met Nathan. So I'm not sure if Aaron is still in chat. Is Venosai still in chat? I don't know. Are you still in chat? I'm just double checking. It doesn't seem like they are. Or oh no, they are. Okay. So it was LSA 3, and I drove to Little Sound Assembly 3 with Venosai and our partners at the time, and we got to the venue late because we just got to the hotel room because it's like a 6-hour drive from like Illinois to Indiana. And so we rushed over to the venue, and I was doing like opening viz because like the first act was Shadru, right? And you know, I'm literally out of it. Like we literally just drove 5-6 hours, right? We just got to this. Oh, this is actually funny because a quick side is what carried us through the drive was this mix by Captain Cuts that did this like one album where they took like a bunch of like pop songs and emo songs and mashed it up, and it sounds amazing. I definitely recommend it. Like I think that was one of the things. Anyway, getting sidetracked. So the way I met Nathan was we went to LSA 3, and I remember like I just like literally no time to set up. Like we were setting up as we go. Like Shadow was already there. Like Shadow was just like already all set up, and I'm just like rushing, like getting all my gear in place, everything. I was just, and then like we do the performance, and I guess it's just like blew everybody's minds or something. And Nathan comes over. Like I literally did not even get. I don't think I like got off like the stage area. Nathan comes over and he's just gushing at me about like my visuals.
No way.
And I'm just like I just remember like I had my bag and stuff. I was just like, who are you? Like, what am I? Who are you? Like, what's going on here? And like, I literally didn't like, because I was just like really out of it.
Yeah.
And I remember the next day, we went to the venue early, and it was Aaron and Sam like Nanode. We're playing on like a Super Game Boy.
Oh, dope.
Just like going through like LSDJ tracks and like just like showing off these things, right? And Nathan comes over, and like this is the first time I've listened to, like I didn't know who Don't Blink or You'll Die is, or like literally anything, right? Because he was like going to perform that night.
Yeah.
He comes over, he puts his cartridge into the Super Game Boy, and it literally like we all like all of our collective jaws dropped. We were all blown away. We're like, wow, this person literally just everything that we were doing, this is just next level.
Holy shit, yeah.
Fast forward to another section. Me and Nathan are doing like performing for Freak Fest 6, I believe. And I literally didn't really know anyone else in the group. So like I basically like clung to Nathan the entire time. So like I hung out with like Nathan and his partner Rachel the entire time. And like Rachel rented a car. They like like we drove around, we went to malls and everything. And the entire like all the car rides, we were just like talking about Jawbreaker and all these like emo bands.
Oh, nice.
So like the reason I like reached out to Nathan was like literally because of that conversation. Like if we literally never talked about Jawbreaker, if we literally never talked about the Get Up Kids, I would have probably never like thought about.
Oh my god, the Get Up Kids, yes.
Yeah, like we talked about all these bands, and I was like these car rides, like this, like like because like we're both like the same age, like we're also both into like the Format, which is like another band that like like a lot of people weren't into or whatever, but like it's just like just to connect with someone on like that sort of like personal level was just like I was just like so happy, and they were like I knew it was going to be this cover song for the longest time, and when they finally submitted it, was just like, it's it's perfect. It's perfect. All right, next is Sam Mulligan, another Boston um, person, right? Let's see. What to call it? So Sam Mulligan, I wanted to. Okay, this is actually a funny thing that happened. Um, so Sam Mulligan, I reached out to for the first compilation. I mean, that's how I met Triheart, right?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Uh, so Sam originally was going writing this song for the first compilation, and I kid you not, was the same exact title as the Plasma Cutter song.
yeah. No.
Like like Get In Loser. We're shoot, the title is so long that I forget sometimes.
We're going.
Yeah,
We're going.
We're going.
yeah, no. Get In Loser. We're going to fight for someone we don't know. And Sam Mulligan told me the title of his
No.
song before like they never submitted the song, but they told me the title, and I was just like, "What are the odds? What are the literal odds that you were both going to use this meme as your title?" Um, and it's funny because there was a chance, because like when we were talking about song submissions for this uh, compilation, there was a chance that he was going to submit that song, but I was just like there was a part of me that was just like, like chaotic evil enough to be like, yes, let's just have the same titled song that sounds completely different. But no, what Sam did was like submit us a bunch of songs, and I was talking about this before the interview. I'm starting to think like their second song would have fit the season a little better because
Right,
like the
right.
second song is about like a snowball fight, and like it's winter time. But I'm still happy that they submitted Wasted Talent. Like I think this was just like broader appeal in this sense, and like like the stylistic choices in the song really remind me of like old Weezer. I mean, like right, like that's all we have to do is like be reminded of old Weezer and be like,
I
oh
know,
yeah,
for
that's
real.
Okay, next is Mochizuki, Wrong Rhythm Studies Dorian concept cover. This is someone that Kyle reached out to. This is also someone that I believe Kyle is like more like friends with, or blah. I don't know how to. You know what I'm saying? Acquainted
Yeah,
with.
yeah.
That's what I meant. Acquainted with. Okay, words, right? The English language. So they were definitely someone that Kyle was very excited to invite to the album. There's definitely a lot more math rock. I'm so glad that they submitted this song because it feeds right into the next person, which is Tommy Evers for Buried for a Day. Buried for a Day. She performed at this concert that I did visuals for. I think I actually did visuals for her in the same show. Oregon Oregon Country Square Wave was the show. I keep not remembering. Jackson would know. I mean, like, and every time I like misremember, Jackson's like, "No, you got it right." So it's something along those lines. But yeah, like again, it's one of those musicians that I thought of early on because I was like, "Oh, I know someone who's totally like emo math rock." It's and like like definitely a lot more in the math proggy side, which was Buried for a Day. So just the fact that we have these like two like musical interactions that happen like were awesome. You know. Next is Cloudform. Whew, okay, sorry, I had to take a breath. Cloudform is also Casey Van Antwerp, who mastered this entire album.
Wow.
And God, what to say about Casey? I cannot like. There's literally no. Oh, fun fact. The song is 433. Um, so shout out to John Cage.
Oh yeah.
Um, this is what you do with the 4 minutes and 33 seconds. But Casey originally had a song that they showed me early on, like a couple months ago, but I guess like they lost that song and then they like whipped this song out in a day. And I was just like, what? Like literally like I remember they're like, okay, I'm starting on the song right now. Like they were messaging me and then the next day they were like, okay, here's the song. I was just I was just like, how do you do this? Like I was just like, can you like teach me how to do this? Like can you like do that? Like can you just like inject me with that sort of like skill? Like where you could do that? But also like so like originally we were going to have Kyle's brother Ryan master the song, but due to a lot of like complications, and Ryan's just like a really busy person, I had to like scramble and find someone else to like do all their mastering work. So the fact that Casey was there and did all this work, I mean like
right.
all this work, like I mean like 32 songs, like
Yeah.
like like there's literally not enough credit in the world that I could give one person. Like I literally would not have like we would not even be talking. Like this would have been just straight doo-doo if it wasn't for Casey. Like none of this would have been real. Okay, next is Tammy for Hexosphere. I believe she reworked this song. I remember in the email she mentioned that this was a rework specifically for this album. Like she said a lot of good things during the Geek Beat listening party that I'm trying to remember, but it's getting kind of late, so I don't remember all the details. But I guess like it was like a song that she wrote like a very long time ago, and I guess just didn't think about like, see, I'm gonna butcher the history, but the fact that they were able to like recontextualize the song and make it make sense and like fit into this album, it's a gorgeous song. Like I literally used it as like the promo video song because I knew it was like the song that I envisioned for like if we ever needed to promote this album. So I was just like, no, this is it. This is the song. Final Fantasy Football is someone that Vera reached out to. They're also in the Atlanta area, and I literally cannot stress how amazing this song is because it's literally twee, and the fact that someone is out there mixing chiptunes and twee, chip twee. I mean, like seriously, just like how the hell can you like I don't know how to like I've been like I guess in a way like I was like looking for something like this, but I didn't know that I was like looking for it, if that makes any sense.
Right, yeah.
Next song is Trees and Flowers, which is those who I believe they are in the band Floral Tattoo as well as keyboard. Like they do keys in Floral Tattoo. This song, I'll admit, like when I first heard it, like I honestly couldn't figure out where to place the song within the album because it was like for me it's a very heavy song in the sense it's very like it's a lot of layers. It's very complicated. It's very unique. It's like it's very like I thought it was like a very very dense like rich song, like like if all the other tracks were potato chips, this is like like that decadent cake. Not that all the tracks are potato chips. I'm just saying you see what I'm saying, right? Like
right, exactly.
So I remember I was actually like super struggling with this, and I was talking to Vera, like I don't know what to do, and this is when like Vera came in and started doing a lot of the arrangement work and like made it work, and I was just like, oh my god, you did it, you solved the puzzle. Like I was working, I was like stressing out, like working like 6 hours trying to figure out what to do, and then you just like solved it. I was just yeah. Next song, Grizzly Cog's Ocean Secrets. This song was actually submitted past the deadline, but when I listened to the song, I was just like, no, we need this.
Put it on.
We have to put it on. Where like, because I was just like, I don't want to put this on the next one because I just did the like chip math emo
Right.
thing. Not that like people who are doing that shouldn't submit to rebuild. I'm just saying like in the grand scheme of things. But I remember when I first started, I was just like, no, we need this in. We need this in. I was just like, we need this in. And just that's what happened with it. Boy Without Batteries, Automol. So the best thing I have to say about the song is what Cole first initially showed me was a cover of Nevermint on the Sega Saturn. And this is actually really relevant to today because I've been noticing like all those like Nintendo DMCA's, right?
Oh yeah.
So a lot of people are scared about like, oh, is Chiptune gonna die? Blah blah blah.
Right.
Here it is. Here's the future of chip. This is like if you ever watch Reformat the Planet and they're talking about like, oh, like the next branch of artists will use game consoles that we didn't think about. Like, this is it. This is the freaking thing. This is how you could get away from all of that DMCA blocks. Just use the Sega consoles. They don't give a shit. They literally like welcome it. Like just get yourself the Gen MDMs, get yourself Sega Saturns. Just this is the future of chip. Like,
oh my god.
Like this is how I envisioned the future of chip like 10 years ago when I was a little bit more optimistic. But like I'm just finally happy that someone like actually bothered to like make a groundbreaking song with a Sega Saturn. And like
hell yeah.
I gotta say like that Nevermint like video in my Facebook Messenger. I remember when he like first showed it, I was just like, oh my god, I'm already sold. And they're like, no, I'm writing my own song. I was just like, but this is so good. Just can you please? All right, next is Dork Extra, who's in the chats. Dork Extra, I actually did visuals for in a Tampa show without realizing, or I guess, no. Like my point is, I didn't realize that it was the same person that submitted to Continue. Blah blah blah. When they submitted to Continue, Power and Death was actually one of the songs that I listened to over and over again, and I knew that I wanted to reach out to Dork Extra because I was just like, I don't know, I kind of feel like people don't give Mike enough credit. Like, Mike has this sound that's like really good for this like emo pop punk style. Like I remember when I first heard like Power and Death, like just the opening line, like I eat sugary cereals just so I could feel good. I was already sold. I was like, I don't like. I literally don't even need to listen to the other like lyrics in the song. I already know I love this freaking song. Like just I remember just that initial line was enough to be like, I was just like, what? This song appeals to me. The fact that like I mean like I meant to is also like very much something of that similar caliber. I honestly want people to hype Mike up, like, and I think that's why I like invited them. So I was just like, I need to hype them up. I just need to hype them up. Like someone has to. Someone has to do it.
Hell yeah.
Okay, Muzak Efron. Whew. Okay, Muzak Efron. I knew I was going to reach out to again Blueprint. One of the Blueprint people, just because I knew that she was involved in a lot of like emo acts individually outside of Chip before, and like just the conversation she would have with like, Kyle. Like I knew Kyle and Zac Efron was like close. I'm getting like a little winded, so I'm just like losing. But like so with this song, it was like definitely another scenario where it was like a song like I think they wrote it that like day. I don't know how it happened, but I remember when I first heard the song, I was just like, yeah, this is it. This is all we need. We could just release this one thing and then we'll just get it. And the titling is just amazing because it just reminds me of like I'm not sure if you guys ever did this, but like there was like a Macho Man Randy Savage soundboard online that like
click
on buttons and then like you could do crank. Well, like this wasn't intended, but you could definitely just do crank calls and just like like a day before caller ID and all of that. But yeah, Bonesaw is ready. That's the one I remembered a lot, and like just like the stylistic choices. Oh my god, there's just too much I could say about this song. This song is just amazing. Then Vera submitted the song "Ghost in a Burning Building." Very early on actually, and like I said, like Vera helped organize one of these compilations, so I just figured that all three of us were going to like submit a song in some form or another. I mean, for a while I wasn't going to, just because I was like, I can't do both.
Yeah.
They somehow managed. Um, but when I first heard the song, I was just like, again, another thing that just like blew my mind, just because of like the stylistic choices, like this like lo-fi crunchy like it's like I really like Casio tone for the Painfully Alone, um, more so than I like Advanced Space, and Vera was able to like capture that sort of stylistic sound, which I felt was very fitting, because I was just kind of felt like CFTPA was, I mean, like they were like definitely like lo-fi like
right.
groups, but but it was definitely like an emo sound, because lyrically, like the subject matter and everything, but to capture that sort of sound and like make it like kind of twee, kind of a blend of all these other sorts of styles in just like one song, just to capture all of that. I mean, like Vera is probably like just like a lo-fi genius, if there is one. Like like if you want to like I kind of personally hate like those like attributions, because I kind of don't want to like put someone on like a pedestal or all that stuff. But like, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm just saying,
Right.
like Vera, like you should check out what she put out recently. It was a split between Business Pastel as well as Cyanide Dancing,
Oh shit.
and under her label Avant Garde. Give me a second. I'll just plug it in chat. Okay, here we go. Avantgarde.bandcamp.com is Vera's personal label for lo-fi musicians. There's the chat. Here it is, and definitely check it out. It's avant-n-guard for anyone that's listening. .bandcamp.com, and wait, I think
Did
that's
you make it?
Was,
you made it.
Yeah, I made it.
Benji, you made it to the finish line.
I somehow made it.
I was worried about you for a second.
I was worried for myself. I was like, am I going to die? Am I going to do the thing where I die?
Oh my god. All right, I should not keep you all night. That was amazing. I loved watching that. That was so cool.
Yeah. I mean, feel free. I'm good for like one more question. I feel like I could do one more question. If there's anything, really, okay.
I don't even have any more. You're
Yeah.
just amazing. Is there anything that we didn't talk about that you wanted to talk about?
I mean, please definitely check out the compilation. We talked about it all freaking night. I mean, we didn't talk about just only that. Definitely check out the next iteration of Triheart Music's podcast.
Oh, hell
yeah. Please contribute to Rebuild. There's going to be details for it coming up soon. I'm definitely extending the deadline. I'm just currently backlogged with so many things right now. To anyone who's still listening, I mean, I cannot thank you enough for joining us. Like, this is awesome. Like, I'm surprised that even anyone showed up. I mean, I'm totally okay just talking with you, but if I could have just done this all night, this is just like hanging out with like a buddy all the time. Like,
I know, for real. You're like you're one of my best internet friends.
I love that. I mean, but like that's how I have friendships. Like,
Oh my god. Yeah.
Like, how else are you gonna function if you're extremely online? Like,
Oh my god, I love, like, I don't know, some people I just love on like Twitter and social media. I'm always like, what does Benji die up to? Like, or like if something happens, like, oh, AOC did this, I'm like, oh, what did Benji die? Did Benji die think anything about that?
Yeah, because I'm either tweeting about politics
or
just anime or Pokemon cards or Yu-Gi-Oh cards. All the escapism, all the time.
Die Benji Die. Twitter.com/DieBenjiDie.
Because the world is just the hellscape, and we really, dude, we're we're in a very dark time period, and people just need to be doing really positive things like
Hell yeah.
what y'all are doing with Triheart.
No, you.
Yeah, no, like, but this is like important. Like again, archiving this stuff.
True.
This stuff.
Archiving.
This this is important.
True.
Documentation. This is important.
True.
This is important. This is gonna leave an impact in the world.
Hell yeah.
I will die, and then this will live on.
Same.
This will outlive both of us. In 20 years, someone's going to discover this, and it's like, who are these cringe motherfuckers?
I know, for real. If YouTube still exists, hopefully YouTube still exists.
Except, like, I wonder what they're going to replace cringe with. Like, I wonder what that is.
I know, true.
Basically, like, cringe for right now is what poser was when we were, like, younger.
Dude, I miss the word poser. I love the word poser.
I've been re-owning it lately.
Oh, man. Bring poser back. Bring poser back.
I'm just a big, scary poser. Like, y'all don't understand. Like, I don't know anything about chip tunes.
Oh, man. That's like the ultimate chiptune name.
Yeah, I know.
Oh my god, big scary poser.
Big scary poser.
Wait,
That sounds a nice ring. Yeah.
Did we just make a band?
I think we did. And next up, big scary poser.
Yo, can we like the posers?
The posers.
We are scary posers. That was one I always thought of.
Yes,
We are scary
all
posers.
about that.
But yeah, to everyone who's still listening, like, I really hope this inspires some people to, like, get out and start doing their thing too. Like, you know,
Hell
like,
yeah.
and also just participating in everything that we're doing. And I don't know what else to say. I just want people to, like, do stuff all the time. And, you know, yeah, y'all are awesome. Everyone who's listening, everyone who donated to the album, everyone who does anything, like,
Hell yeah.
like, y'all are like my heroes. Like, I don't know what else to say.
And you're coming back to do visuals for the Boston 8-Bit show.
I am.
Yeah. And I'd like to book you as a musician too, by the way.
Oh.
I
Boy.
I have thoughts. I'm just saying, I have thoughts. I have ideas that I need to.
All right. We'll have that conversation soon.
Okay, you got it.
We'll have that conversation soon, because there have been ideas that I wanted to work on that I just never got around to working on. So
Yeah.
Let's have that conversation soon.
Okay. I'll hound you about it on the 27th when the show is.
No, hound me about it 2 years from now.
No, I don't even know if I'll be alive then.
I don't know if I'll be alive then. Like, or if this country is going to be alive.
Oh my god! You know, when you had that friend when, like, in school, if you were like, if neither of us are married by the time we're 30, let's get married. So that'll be you and me.
Are you proposing for me?
Yes, I am. If we're
Ooh.
alive in 2 years, you play.
Yes, I mean 100. I mean 100%. I mean, hopefully sooner than that. Hopefully sooner than that for sure. But yeah, no, definitely. I mean, like, hopefully Bernie Sanders manages to bully someone to give us a freaking stimulus check, right? Oh, God help us.
That's why we live in Triheart outer space world now.
Yeah, exactly.
There is no wealth, and there is no. Everything is just peaceful here. All right. We should end.
Yeah, we should probably end. But good night to everybody. Love y'all. Love you guys. Thank you for everything.
You're amazing, Benji.
Thank you for choosing to continue.
Hell yeah.
I said the thing.
And yeah.
Yeah, download, continue, and everything.
Hell yeah. And when your next comp comes out, we should just do this all over again.
Oh, definitely, easily.
Okay, you got it. It's a sealed deal.
Yeah, no, easily. Let's do this all over again. We could rant about the same things. It'll be the same conversation. No, there's a lot we could talk about.
Say goodnight to the chat.
Good night. Good night, everybody in chat. Good night, the
Good
dork
night.
guy.
Good night, Mike. That's who the dork guy is.
Mike.
So
Good
we're
night.
gonna end with Bird Shirt by Diamond Machine.
Oh, we're gonna end with Bird Shirt by Diamond Machine.
Download
Awesome.
it on
Download it
Diamond
on
Machine.
diamondmachine.bandcamp. Bye, Benji.
And download
All right,
Continue.
bye.